This is an Etha Echoes Tales production, bringing stories to life one chapter at a time. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Now let's get into it. My House of Horrors. Chapter 1. Dying House of Horrors. This is the first time I visited such an unscary haunted house. The props are too fake. I didn't feel scared. If anything, it all felt like a joke to me. Materialists like ourselves naturally have nothing to be afraid of. Ghosts aren't real. I hate to say it, but I told you so. We should have stayed at the hostel. I was so close to gaining another level on my online game. A group of students grumbled with disappointment in front of Western Jeoujeong City's House of Horrors before they left on their motorbikes. Chen Ge, who held a stack of advertisement flyers for the haunted house, shook his head despondently when he saw this. The art of scaring was a skill, but with the introduction of scary movies, many modern-day citizens' threshold for scares had been increased. A visit to the haunted house was no different from a stroll in one's own backyard. "Boss." A clear female voice erupted from behind him. Chen Ge turned around and saw a slender zombie in a nurse outfit running out of the haunted house in a fit of anger. "What's wrong, Xiao Wan?" The zombie's name was Su Wan. She was one of the temporary actors hired by the haunted house. "Those few ruffians earlier, they tried to take advantage of me." The girl hissed through gritted teeth, her fists gripped tight. "So, it is merely to complain." "That's horrible. They wouldn't even leave a zombie in peace." As the boss, naturally Chen Ge was on Xiao Wan's side. "Later, I'll have the amusement park manager to pull up the surveillance footage." "There's no need for that." When I realized their intentions, my punch went flying straight at the boy's face. Su Wan pointed at the bloodstain at the edge of her outfit and exclaimed rather proudly, "See, this isn't fake blood." "Good, good. A girl should learn how to protect herself." Chen Ge wiped the cold sweat from his forehead. As he turned to look at the setting sun, he said, "I suppose it's time to call it a day. We probably won't have any more visitors, so help me go and tell everyone that we can get off work early today." However, he realized the girl in zombie makeup didn't make an attempt to move away. "Is there anything else?" "Boss." Su Wan hesitated before pulling 2 letters out from her pocket slowly. "These are the resignation letters from Tao Ming and Xiao Wei. You've been a great boss to them, so they didn't have to the face to give these to you in person and had me pass them to you." "They're quitting." Chen Ge asked the obvious question as he accepted the letters. Then he added, "Everyone has their own dream to chase, so be it. Xiao Wan, you can leave now if there's nothing else." "Okay, I'll go remove the makeup first." After the cute little zombie left, Chen Ge lit a cigarette silently. Half a year ago, when his parents mysteriously disappeared, the only thing they left him was this haunted house. To keep their memory alive, Chen Ge had resigned from his day job to focus on managing this haunted house. Alas, times were changing. Despite the niche genre, there was huge competition among haunted houses, and there were plenty of limitations as well. A scary scenario would lose its scare factor after the initial experience, but a constant update would require plenty of resources and money. Starting from a few weeks ago, the haunted house had been in the red. The income from the daily ticket sales barely covered the electricity and water expenses. "I wonder how long I can hold on." After extinguishing the cigarette, when Chen Ge was prepared to return to the haunted house, a middle-aged man wearing the uniform for New Century Park walked toward him. When he saw him, Chen Ge increased his pace like a mouse spotting a cat. "You think you can pretend to have not seen me?" The middle-aged man clamped his hands on Chen Ge's shoulders. "Today, we definitely need to talk it out. You've owed the rent and utilities for 2 months already. The top brass are breathing down my neck to pursue it, so pay up. Uncle Sue, it's not that I don't want to pay you, but I really have nothing to pay you with. Can you please give me another month? That's what you told me last month. I promise, this is definitely the last time. Chen Ge patted his chest as he promised with sincerity. People have already moved on from haunted houses. Listen to me, it's no use being this stubborn. When the middle-aged man named Uncle Sue saw the letters in Chen Ge's hand, the force on Chen Ge's shoulders gradually lightened. You're so young. You can still begin anew with a different career, so why are you doing this to yourself? Uncle Sue, I know you're just looking out for me, but this haunted house carries a different meaning for me. I guess I'm still unwilling to let the last memory of my parents go. Chen Ge uttered in a lowered voice, as if he was afraid that other people might hear him. As the amusement park manager, the middle-aged man knew about the disappearance of Chen Ge's parents. He didn't answer immediately. After a few seconds, he sighed and said, "Fine, I can understand how you feel. I'll try my best to talk to management for you and see if they can give you a few more weeks." Thank you, Uncle Sue. Don't thank me so soon. You'd better make sure you can increase the ticket sales, or the ending will just be the same. After sending the amusement park manager off, Chen Ge returned to the haunted house and started his daily routine of checking the equipment, maintaining the items, and cleaning. The fake blood in the maintenance room is almost empty. I have to buy a new batch. If this corridor could be made slightly more slanted to the side, it'll create a better blind spot to scare the visitors. Oh no, this puppet is broken already. I'll have to repair it later. F***CK. What happened to the light bulb I installed here last week? Who has stolen it? In the eyes of an outsider, he was the owner of a haunted house, a young entrepreneur in a way, but only Chen Ge himself could understand the difficulty behind maintaining a haunted house. Haunted houses were a kind of entertainment. Caught within a scary environment, one's physical and mental situation would be maintained at a heightened state, but when the stress was released, it would lead to a sense of relief and satisfaction. It was not unlike a massage in a way. At the same time, most haunted houses were one-trick ponies. The most effective business method for a haunted house was to have it be mobile so that it would constantly attract fresh batches of visitors. A haunted house that was stuck at a certain location like Chen Ge's had to have immense popularity to lure in the crowds, or else they wouldn't be able to survive for long. The fact that he had managed to hold on for so long was already, in a way, a miracle. Dragging the puppet that was ruined, Chen Ge entered the maintenance room. He had studied toy design in college, and the machinery and traps used in the haunted house had been all personally designed and built by him. The maintenance process, which included sewing and repainting, was dry and repetitive. Still missing some fake blood. If I remember correctly, there's still some stock in the attic. The haunted house was separated into 3 floors. The first and second floors were for haunted scenarios, while the third was a storeroom. After pushing open the wooden door, behind the haze of wood chips and dust, there were various kinds of materials and unwanted ingredients left behind by Chen Ge's parents from when they had managed the haunted house. Unwilling to face the past, Chen Ge rarely came up to this place. Now that I think about it, it has almost been half a year already. Looking at the various equipment, Chen Ge was reminded of his childhood. At the time, his family had managed a mobile haunted house, so he had gotten the chance to travel the country with his parents. When the 2 adults were busy, they would leave Chen Ge alone backstage to accompany the various ghosts, so Chen Ge's unnatural guts had been trained since he was young. After all, when his friends of the same age were playing with blocks and puzzles, he was running around with a fake human head. These are all precious memories. Chen Ge wandered aimlessly before finding himself back at the wooden box that kept the few things that remained of his parents. Inside sat a black cell phone and a rough-looking doll. The doll was the first toy Chen Ge made when he was a child, but he had zero recollection of the phone. Both of these items had been found in an abandoned hospital in the countryside, and regarding why Chen Ge's parents would go there in the middle of the night, even the police couldn't give him an answer. "Where are the two of you?" Chen Ge picked up the doll and pinched its chubby face. Then, with a sigh, he told himself, "I'd better go find that fake blood. If I cannot survive this off-season, I really will have to bid this haunted house farewell." Chen Ge was talking to himself, but when he said so, the black phone, which had been silent in the box, suddenly lit up with a dim, cold light. What's going on? Dark technology or supernatural phenomenon? If this happened to someone else, that person probably would have raced out screaming bloody murder already, but in comparison, Chen Ge's reaction was much calmer. He picked up the phone and inspected it closer. This is weird. I've tried opening this phone more than 100 times before, but it wouldn't work. So why did it open by itself today? This phone was found where my parents disappeared, so could it be that they know I'm in trouble and are contacting me to help? Chen Ge swiped the phone open, and on the front page with a black background, there was only one available app. It had the shape of a haunted house as an icon. Wait, this looks so familiar, just like the front entrance of my own haunted house. With a frown, Chen Ge clicked the app open, and a row of letters written in what appeared to be blood appeared on screen. Do you believe there are ghosts in this world? Objectively speaking, this was a metaphysical philosophical question. For an engineering student like Chen Ge, it was practically unanswerable. There should be, Chen Ge mumbled to himself, and a few seconds later, a new sentence appeared on screen. What you believe is the answer. From this moment on, you will officially take over as the new owner of the haunted house. Of course, this is not something worth celebrating. Before the end of the tutorials, please heed my last advice. Suicide is the most cowardice of behavior, and try your best to survive. What and what? But this pompous way of speech does resemble that father of mine. Chen Ge clicked on the app again, and a new window appeared. Western Jiujiang Haunted House. Status, almost closing. Good reputation, 0. Daily visitor number, 4. Monthly visitor number, 10. My team of ghosts and ghouls, none. My item storage, none. Unlocked achievement, none. Current available scenarios, set pieces. Night of the Living Dead, horrible prop, untrained actors. The plot has no readable storyline or logic. Scream factor, 0 star. Minghun Netherworld marriage. Couple torn apart in the living world, bound together forever in the netherworld, sharing the same grave, pursuing happiness in death. Scream factor, 0.5 stars. Unlockable scenarios. Murder by midnight, a dangerous psychotic patient wandered about a fallen apartment. Scissors and mallets as hands, he is just wandering outside of your room. Scream factor, 1 star. The third sick hall, there are unexplainable noises coming out from this abandoned hospital building every night. As a newspaper reporter, you're tasked with getting to the bottom of this dark mystery. Scream factor, 3 stars. The haunted hearse, leaving with the hearse carrying the coffin. If you cannot escape within an hour, you'll stay forever inside the hearse. Scream factor, 2 stars. Daily mission. Complete daily missions provided by the haunted house to unlock more scary scenarios. The rewards correspond to the difficulty of the mission. Haunted house expansion conditions. Monthly visitor numbers over 100. Good reputation over 60%. After 3 expansions, the haunted house will upgrade to the Shivering Maze. Haunted Wheel of Misfortune. Expend fright points generated by visitors of the haunted house to spin the wheel. The decree of life and death is never the decision of man. Fortune and misfortune are only an inch apart. We have both spirit fruits to increase your lifespan as well as hatred-filled baleful specters. Other functions, yet to be unlocked. Chapter 2, A Curious Daily Mission. The app with the haunted house icon looked similar to many popular management mobile games. However, instead of managing a hotel, aquarium, or pet store, it was to manage a haunted house. Chen Ge stared at the screen, and a single question was on his mind. Why would the phone left behind by my parents have this curious app on it? He looked through the interface of the app, and all the information on it matched the conditions of his actual haunted house, like the daily visitor numbers and available scenarios. This gave Chen Ge a weird sensation, as if the haunted house managed in-game was no different from the one he was managing in real life. They were both down on their luck and facing closure. There were simply too many similarities between them. Could it be that this game is built using my haunted house as its basis? Then does this mean that if there are changes in the game, it'll also happen in real life? Chen Ge muttered. Chen Ge continued to read. The current scenario of the haunted house, Night of the Living Dead, was brutally criticized. Even the Minghun scenario that got onto the papers before only managed to get a 0.5-star rating. If Minghun only gets 0.5 star, I shudder to imagine how scary those unlockable scenarios are. He tried to click on the options, and when he did, a window appeared on screen, telling him that he needed to finish a certain number of daily missions before he would be able to unlock the scenarios. Looks like the daily missions are the key to this. It is only by completing daily missions that I'll be able to unlock the haunted scenarios. By unlocking more scenarios, I'll be able to attract more customers and, consequently, expand the haunted house. Chen Ge was an avid player of mobile games, so he soon grasped the rules of the game. The rate of completion for daily missions was going to influence the development of the haunted house. After clicking on daily missions, 3 options surfaced. Easy mission. There are 3 main elements to the design of a good haunted house: story, scenario, and mood. A haunted house without a story is a haunted house without a soul. Please complete the background story to the 2 scenarios, Night of the Living Dead and Minghun. Normal mission. Fix all the mannequins inside the haunted house before midnight. Nightmare mission. I know you're still not wholly convinced about the existence of ghosts in the world. In that case, how about a little game? The truth will be revealed when you open your eyes. Daily missions will refresh every day at midnight. User can only apply for 1 mission each day, and the reward corresponds to the difficulty of the mission. Beware, the more difficult the mission, the more dangerous it'll be, so please choose carefully. After looking through the mission details, Chen Ge gasped with surprise. The missions in the game have to be completed in real life. Isn't this the perfect proof that this game can influence real life? To test this speculation, he decided to pick a mission. Since the reward was given according to difficulty, and he could only pick 1 each day, for the sake of the biggest reward, he had to pick the most difficult mission. However, the warning attached to the end of the missions did make Chen Ge worry. This is hard to choose. The description for the nightmare mission is so vague. It just speaks of a trap. Why don't I start with a normal mission? Fixing all the props will be difficult but not impossible. Chen Ge was a man of action. After he had made the decision, he started to move. He grabbed his toolbox and a bucket of unopened fake blood and started to inspect all the mannequins around the haunted house. Night had fallen. To save electricity, Chen Ge didn't even leave the lights in the corridors open. Squeezing a flashlight in his armpit, Chen Ge twisted through the large haunted house, fixing all the mannequins that needed his attention. If there were any outsiders who saw this, they would probably be so spooked that they would call the cops directly. I really didn't expect so many mannequins will require maintenance. I should not have slacked off earlier. At 11:45 p.m., Chen Ge received the mission completion alert on his phone. You've completed the normal mission. Paying attention to details will contribute to the perfect scary atmosphere. Congratulations, you've gained the mission reward. Background music, Black Friday. Wait, wasn't Black Friday a banned song in foreign countries? According to rumors, it has the uncanny ability to instill suicidal tendencies in its listeners, and the original score was lost a long time ago. Chen Ge discovered the picture of a CD in his item storage. What kind of mission reward is this? Don't tell me this is all some kind of prank. He clicked on the CD image, and a melody that he had not heard of started playing beside his ears. The melody spoke of darkness, melancholy, and loneliness. Chen Ge felt the world around him falling away, and he had landed himself in a long corridor with no end in sight. When the song ended, Chen Ge's back was drenched in cold sweat. He was thankful he didn't choose to have the song on repeat, or else he really didn't think he would have been able to escape the influence of the music on his own. F***CK, this is real. This should be the original track. After completing the game mission, he really did acquire a reward that he could use in real life. This gave Chen Ge a ray of hope. He stopped the music and saved it carefully. After dealing with everything, Chen Ge returned to the break room to rest. Lying in bed, even though he was tired, he didn't feel at all sleepy. After all, the things that he had experienced that day required a bit of time to digest. Without knowing it, it soon passed midnight, and Chen Ge was still staring aimlessly at the ceiling. Can't sleep at all. The man who was bored out of his mind pulled out the black phone. Midnight has passed, so there should be a new set of daily missions, right? He opened the app, and as he expected, there were some changes on the daily missions screen. Easy mission. If you want to provide the visitors a scary experience, then first you have to pay notice to the rhythm and tempo of their experience in the haunted house. Setting off the scare too early might cause the visitors to lose their interest. So I suggest you install some sound detectors or surveillance cameras in the haunted house to keep track of your visitors' progress. Normal mission. A single hand cannot clap. A good haunted house requires a good team to run it. Recruit more talents to aid in your journey. Nightmare mission. I know you're still not wholly convinced about the existence of ghosts in the world. In that case, how about a little game? The truth will be revealed when you open your eyes. Daily missions will refresh every day at midnight. User can only apply for one mission each day, and the reward corresponds to the difficulty of the mission. Beware, the more difficult the mission, the more dangerous it'll be, so please choose carefully. The 3 new daily missions put some kinks in Chen Ge's plan. The easy mission was to install new surveillance devices in the haunted house. This could be done with money, but the issue was, Chen Ge's budget was currently limited. The normal mission also wasn't that easy for Chen Ge. His 2 senior workers, who had been through thick and thin with him, had just resigned. Even if he went to set up a recruitment ad right this moment, it would require days to complete the training. When the new employee could help at the haunted house, the place probably would have closed already. Since the easy mission and normal mission were impossible, Chen Ge's eyes settled on the last daily mission. Since the harder the mission, the better the reward, shall I give this nightmare mission a try? Chapter 3, Nightmare Mission. I know you're still not wholly convinced about the existence of ghosts in the world. In that case, how about a little game? The truth will be revealed when you open your eyes. As mentioned earlier, the description of the nightmare mission was incredibly vague. It did, however, give off a creepy vibe. Looking at the introduction, it should involve some kind of game, but how can playing a game be a nightmare mission? To finish the normal mission, Chen Ge had worked non-stop for several hours. He had barely managed to finish fixing all the mannequins. As he toyed with the phone, Chen Ge's sense of curiosity was aroused. Shall I try it out? The moment the thought appeared, it grew and expanded like vines invading every corner of his mind. Nightmare missions give the best reward, and since I can't accomplish the easy and normal missions provided today, this is my best bet. The haunted house would close if he was unable to survive this off-season. Chen Ge knew how precarious his situation was. It was a pure stroke of luck that he had stumbled upon this ray of hope, so of course, he wouldn't let any opportunities pass by easily. So be it. After all, eventually, I'll have to apply for a nightmare mission, so why not now sitting up in bed? Chen Ge clicked on the last mission. Are you sure you wish to accept the nightmare mission? After acceptance, unknown circumstances might occur. Yes. The phone flashed, and the real mission details surfaced. It requires plenty of courage, incredible luck, and a bit of help to see the hidden world. The game we're playing is called Another You in the Mirror. Enter the bathroom alone at 2:04 a.m., close the door and turn off the lights. Face the mirror and light a candle between yourself and it. Then, close your eyes and focus. You can then begin by slowly chanting your name. Anything can happen in the dark. Perhaps there will be an unfamiliar face that appears in the mirror, or there might be a pair of eyes lurking in the corner watching you, or blood might drip from the ceiling or walls. No matter what happens, all you must do is make sure that you stay silent and stand before the mirror quietly. After half an hour, the mission will be auto-completed, provided that you do not open your eyes, no matter what happens in that half hour. After reading the mission introduction, Chen Ge's heart twinged with fear. Could there really be a world hidden from normal eyes? It was still some time before the allocated 2:04 a.m. Instead of moving to the bathroom, Chen Ge started doing his research online. Chen Ge did manage to find some extra information on this supposed game, and they were all ghost stories. Some said they were cursed after they played this game, while others mentioned missing friends or family members, convinced that they were pulled into the mirror world. Every single one of these sounds so authentic. The more he read, the more interested Chen Ge became. He was, after all, the operator of a haunted house. His daily exercise was to come up with new ways to scare people, within a safe environment, of course. As he read up on the information to this game, he felt as if a new world was opening before his eyes. It's weirdly exciting to play a scary game in the middle of the night, inside a haunted house. He checked the battery level of his phone. He felt like recording this momentous occasion. Later, I'll put the whole thing on recording. If it is as scary as these people say, then perhaps I can add a new scenario to the haunted house. He scoured the room for a candle and lighter. When the clock struck 2 a.m., he carried the prepared objects and moved toward the bathroom on the first floor of the haunted house. The reason he carried out this game at the first floor's toilet was also a calculated decision on Chen Ge's part. If anything dangerous did occur during the process, at least he could jump directly out the window to save himself. The haunted house was eerily quiet at night. A young man who refused to turn on the lights to save electricity entered the cramped and narrow toilet with a flashlight and candle. A dark and claustrophobic environment is the best at evoking the feeling of fear within a person's heart. The toilet is usually the place that has the most yin energy within the building. Mirrors and cisterns, these items couldn't have been more mundane, but these everyday items can often be used to increase psychological pressure. The person behind this game is very clever. They know how to make use of the weakness often found within the human heart, and consequently, they are able to create a scary atmosphere with the simplest of objects and conditions. Chen Ge found this a perfect opportunity to improve his craft. Real terror actually doesn't need expensive setups. It only needs to highlight and heighten the sense of anxiety inherent in the human heart. Chen Ge took a deep breath and put his phone on record. I don't know what kind of effect this game will bring, but if anything happens to me, I hope the person who finds this phone will preserve this video, because it is a key, a valuable key to unlocking the many layers of deceit. Then, Chen Ge placed the phone beside the cistern. He adjusted the angle until the camera could capture his person and the mirror opposite him. It's 2:01 a.m. already, 3 more minutes. The wait for death was scarier than death itself. The silence of the toilet amplified all sorts of noises or echoes in the room. As the seconds ticked by, Chen Ge's heart started to race. He looked at the time on the phone. When the minute hand pointed at the 4, he switched off the flashlight and lit up the candle. Following the instructions, he placed it between the mirror and himself. The dancing flame became the only source of light in the dark. It flickered and twirled between the real world and the mirrored world. It acted perhaps like some kind of guidance light, pointing the way for whatever existed in the mirror. Chen Ge looked at his reflection in the mirror, and he felt strangely weirded out. Has the game started? He lowered his head and closed his eyes before starting to mumble his name softly. Chen Ge, Chen Ge, Chen Ge. Repetition of one's name would put a psychological distance between it and oneself. Eventually, even one's name would sound strange to one's ears. This theory was similar to how, after looking at a particular Chinese character repeatedly, one would end up forgetting how to write it when asked. To prevent that psychological effect from befalling himself, every time Chen Ge chanted his name, he would leave a 3-second space. This way, he was also counting down the time. After all, the condition for a successful mission was to keep his eyes closed for half an hour, no matter the distraction. Standing in front of a mirror and playing a game that involves only a candle at 2 a.m. inside a haunted house alone. If I was not doing this myself, even I wouldn't believe someone would willingly do something this dumb. Chen Ge continued to chant his name as the various random thoughts entered his mind. This game is filled with psychological terror. The most difficult part is not facing those supposed ghosts or legends, but stopping your mind from straying and forming scary scenarios to scare yourself. As long as you don't open your eyes, everything should be fine. However, that was easier said than done, because 10 minutes after the game started, something did happen. Chapter 4: Surprise Reward. It seemed that the toilet's windows were not closed, because Chen Ge could feel a cold draft enter the room. It was like an invisible hand was brushing past his face. The door of the toilet cubicles creaked as they were moved by the wind. The water that had gathered at the corner of the ceiling fell onto the floor, causing the insects to scatter. The sound made Chen Ge feel like they were crawling all over his skin. All sorts of noises were amplified by the general silence, which would have heightened the sense of anxiety in most people, but not Chen Ge, who had been trained to have a strong heart since he was young and had a slightly slower than normal sense of perception. He cleared his mind of thought to focus on counting down the time. About 20 minutes had passed, and for some reason, Chen Ge could sense the temperature of the room dropping like someone had placed several blocks of solid ice around him, causing him to shiver involuntarily. Calm yourself, don't overthink it and scare yourself. There's only 10 minutes left. Chen Ge, you can do this. There was a curious draft flowing beside his ear like something was circling him. He gripped his hands so tightly that the veins on their backs were protruding, but his body seemed to have petrified into immobile stone. Chen Ge, Chen Ge, Chen Ge. He continued to mumble to himself. At only 5 minutes left, Chen Ge could tell the flickering light of the candle had died off, and there seemed to be another presence in the dark calling his name. Echo, impossible. Chen Ge. The voice seemed to be summoning him, and it felt urgent, like it had something crucial to tell him. The voice seems to be coming from outside the door. Shall I go to take a look? However, very soon, Chen Ge rejected this thought from his mind. The rules were explicit. He was required to stand before the mirror and not do anything else. He continued the countdown in his heart, and the voice beside his ear started to warp. He was now certain that there was someone else calling his name, and that person was standing outside the toilet door. The person sounds so urgent, but I'm the one playing this game, so why do they sound so damn hurried? This is obvious a trap, such a cheater. Chen Ge turned his lips down with disapproval. The setup and atmosphere are not bad, but alas, the scare tactic is too straightforward and simple. During the final 3 minutes, there was a shrill noise coming from the toilet door, like someone was scratching their nails against it or gnawing their teeth on it. The door creaked subtly, like it was about to open at any moment. 1,798 seconds, 1,799 seconds, 1,800 seconds. The half-an-hour limit was up. All the noises disappeared at once, and silence reigned once more. To prevent miscalculation, Chen Ge did not open his eyes immediately. He counted for an extra 300 before he took a step back, placed both his hands over his chest, and fluttered his eyes open. The candle in the toilet had been extinguished, and the place was dark. For some reason, Chen Ge felt like something had shifted. He turned on the flashlight, and when light appeared once more in the cramped area, he was stunned. The mirror before him was filled with cracks, and several images of himself stared back at him. It looked extremely hallucinogenic, but the thing that gave him a bigger scare was the appearance of a broken doll in front of the mirror. The eyes that were made from buttons were shining, and the patchwork body was filled with cotton. The doll was not by any means new, but it held a special meaning for Chen Ge. It was his very first creation, and something left at the scene of his parents' disappearance. The doll was leaning against the mirror, like it was trying to stop the thing in the mirror from coming out. Wait, but the toilet door was already locked. How did you come in? Through the window? No, wait, the bigger issue is how you moved on your own. Chen Ge felt like his world was falling apart. He needed some time to process the situation. The man and the doll were locked in this stare for about 3 minutes before Chen Ge felt more like himself again. He moved his cold fingers and slowly moved toward the doll. For some reason, it felt like the button eyes of the doll seemed to be following him. Chen Ge's lips twitched involuntarily as he looked at this doll of his. He gave the doll a wide berth to pick the phone next to it. Thankfully, I was clever enough to prepare for this. The phone had finished recording. Chen Ge made a second copy before starting to look through the video. The video quality was not that great. The single candle fire danced in the darkness, and while the Chen Ge in front of the mirror looked rather cautious, the Chen Ge in the mirror seemed weirdly at ease. The first 10 minutes were fine, but things started to turn weird at the 11-minute mark. The sound of the wind wasn't captured by the phone, but one could see the cubicle door moving in the video. Then the video was interrupted by white noise. It was a video that was at most a bit curious, but for some reason, it was weirdly scary. Perhaps this was humanity's inherent fear of darkness and the unknown. As the video continued to play, Chen Ge's face turned increasingly pale. He remembered clearly that he had not moved when his eyes were closed, but on the video, he saw his body slowly leaning forward like he was trying to lean into the mirror. At the 25-minute mark, his upper body was already at a 70-degree angle, and the tip of his nose almost touching the surface of the mirror. Several seconds later, without any warning, spidery cracks started to form on the mirror. It caused even Chen Ge's heart to skip a beat. Then, the most unbelievable thing happened. The Chen Ge in the mirror's expression changed. He grinned wickedly as he slammed crazily against the mirror. Right at that minute, the candle went out and the video ended. Due to the camera angle, the video did not show any scene relating to the doll, and Chen Ge himself had no idea what really went down in that last 5 minutes. From the looks of things, the thing in the mirror wanted to get out, but it was stopped by this doll. In that case, the doll saved me. Chen Ge picked the doll up from the counter and asked in a serious tone, "Can you understand me? Do you know what happened to my parents?" Naturally, the doll did not answer, but its button eyes seemed to glow in the dark. He cradled the doll in his arms and turned to look at the toilet door. Afraid of going out, he shrunk underneath one of the windows and pulled out his phone. The mission success message was waiting for him. "It has to be said that you're incredibly lucky. Congratulations for completing the nightmare mission. Obtained mission reward, elementary skill, Mortician's Makeup." Mortician's Makeup. I hope you will treat this talent with the respect it deserves. Unlike beauty makeup, a mortician only deals with the makeup of the dead. Your hands breathe life into death visages, bringing them everlasting beauty. First nightmare mission completed, unlocked the title, Newcomer at Nightmare Town. Obtained additional reward, unlocked the trial mission for the 1-star scenario, Murder by Midnight. Completion of this trial mission will add this scenario to your haunted house. Looking at the messages on screen, Chen Ge thought to himself, the success of a haunted house had plenty to do with a good makeup artist. Be it actors or props, they needed a makeup artist to make them come to life. A good makeup artist can easily create authentic effect to add to the overall scare factor. Chapter 5, 25 minutes and 14 seconds. Skill and talent. Looks like the reward for Nightmare Mission is different in the sense that the reward is directly beneficial to myself. Making a mental note of this important point, Chen Ge's heart burned with anticipation. He had seen the existence of the other world, the world of terror, fear, darkness, and danger. Perhaps that world was where his parents had gone, but based on his current power, keeping himself safe was a big enough issue, let alone looking for them. Thankfully, with the black phone by his side, there was still a chance. In any case, that is still quite far in the future. The thing I need to focus on is to stabilize the haunted house business and survive this imminent financial crisis. He pulled out his phone. That was close. Something disastrous could have happened. This shows that nightmare missions aren't so easily completed. Then again, there's no reason for me to go about this alone. In an information age like ours, help can be reached at the tip of one's fingers. He logged into a few famous national supernatural forums and uploaded the original video. A few seconds later, his video was dubbed, "Who is that in the mirror?" It was rapidly viewed and shared. Perhaps people were so bored of the usual host of gossip and news that they wanted to switch it up. The popularity of the video shot up like an arrow. Every time Chen Ge refreshed the page, there would be at least 10 new comments. 25:14. You all can thank me later. Has the uploader lost his mind? Who would do something like this in the middle of the night? Why did the cracks appear on the mirror on their own? Also, what was that thing that knocked into the mirror near the end there? The cracks are mostly caused by temperature manipulation inside the room. No, you guys are all wrong. In Taoism, mirrors are items of pure yin energy. I suggest the video's title be changed from "Who is that in the mirror?" to "The Ghost in the Mirror." Jesus Christ, who dares do something this crazy so late at night? I'm impressed by the uploader's bravery. This video has definitely been tampered with. If not, take down my ID, I'll stand on my hand and eat shit. Am I the only one who noticed this? The profile of the uploader is the owner of a haunted house in western Jiujiang. Don't get all wrapped up over this. This is nothing more than a fabricated advertisement. Chen Ge's inbox instantly filled with private messages. Some came with questions, others with suspicion, but Chen Ge ignored them all. He knew his video was real. He didn't think he owed any of these people any explanation. Those in the know would realize its authenticity, and as for those who just wanted to undermine him, why should he waste his time on them? Looking at the video's meteoric rise in popularity, Chen Ge realized with a start that this was actually not a bad opportunity. He spliced the original video, only taking the last 14 seconds, and uploaded it to the nation's biggest video-sharing app. Amid the videos that showcased food, dances, or singing, his haunted video was definitely one of a kind. In just less than 10 seconds, people had started to fall for his trap. Unlike the users on supernatural forums who went searching for stuff like this, these random users started leaving inflammatory comments under the video from being scared for no reason. Sadly, on the internet, conflict and controversy bring in more viewers than praise does, so the wave of online censure only brought in more viewers. Scrolling through the comments, Chen Ge could practically sense the hatred and anger directed his way. He shrugged it off with a laugh. To be fair, he did understand why these people reacted the way they did. Most of them were probably preparing for bed, all wrapped up in their blankets, and were probably just looking through some light-hearted videos in preparation to settle down for the night. This scary video of a man wreathed in candlelight had the complete opposite effect than what they were hoping for. The best feature of the video was that it was only 14 seconds, so before they realized what was happening, the scare had already happened. The mirror shattered, and the thing appeared like it was trying to rush out of the mirror and then through the phone screen itself. This was truly a masterful setup. Based on how lively the comment section is, the popularity of this video looks like it's not going to drop anytime soon. This means that everyone likes my video, yes. A certain someone asked a shameless and rhetorical question. The number of followers has already increased by 100. If I don't make use of this opportunity to advertise the haunted house, then I'll feel I've disappointed all of my new fans and followers. Chen Ge edited the title of the video and attached the address of the haunted house at the user info section. He even added in brackets, a completely not scary haunted house. Chen Ge was satisfied with his updated user page. He remained seated under the window to look through the stream of messages and eventually fell asleep. Chen Ge was woken up by the sunlight that fell on his face. He stretched his tired body and stood up from the corner of the toilet. It's 8:03 a.m. already. He dusted his clothes and pocketed both the doll and the phone before leaving the toilet. He noticed there were obvious scratch marks on the edges of the wooden toilet door, like it had been munched on by rodents. Just what was the thing outside the door last night? Looking at this, Chen Ge suddenly felt thankful he did not move from the mirror last night and go out to take a look. Nightmare missions might cause unexpected circumstances. I need to be more careful in the future. Since there was not any discernible change to the haunted house, Chen Ge shrugged it off and prepared to welcome a new day. The new Century Park opened at 9 a.m. At 8:45 a.m., a slender and lithe figure that was disproportionate to her chest, size, ran toward him carrying a backpack. "Boss!" The girl radiated an aura of youthfulness. Her exquisite features practically glowed in the sun. Her skin was taut and supple like fresh apricot that one could not help but wish to take a bite of. "Zio Wan, your timing is perfect. I've just added a new background track to our song database. Listen to it and tell me what you think." Before Chen Ge could finish his sentence, Su Wan gripped his hand tightly. On reflex, he asked, "What are you doing?" "I just saw a big crowd gathered at the entrance of the park. They're discussing the haunted house. We have people coming here just to experience the haunted house." Su Wan exclaimed excitedly. "Boss, we seem to have plenty of customers waiting." "Shouldn't that be expected? Is this your first time at the park?" Chen Ge pretended to be unaffected. He pulled out his phone to look at the video sharing app. His current number of followers had broken through 500, and the popularity of his video had reached the top 10 of the app. He scanned through the comments, and unlike other comment sections which were filled with XOXO or threes, his was filled with endless reprimands, rebukes, and threats. Some of them even said that they had prepared the knife to slay Chen Ge, and that they were on the way to his address. This seems to have gotten slightly out of hand. Chen Ge coughed awkwardly before dragging Su Wan with him into the haunted house. We have 15 more minutes to the official opening time of the park. Since we're the only two left protecting this haunted house, be prepared for the imminent war. Chapter 6, Beauty Makeup. Chen Ge's haunted house currently only had 2 available scenarios, Night of the Living Dead and Minghun. The Night of the Living Dead was heavily criticized by the Black Phone. Chen Ge thought about it as objectively as he could, and he had to admit there were many flaws with that scenario. Furthermore, to complete the scenario, he had to have at least 3 workers. Xiao Wan, our main theme today will be Minghun. Later, after I'm done setting up the background music, remember to put on your earphones when you work. Also, I'll be doing your makeup today. Boss, you know how to do makeup. Xiao Wan laughed half-mockingly at him. Fine, but I'll do it myself if you screw it up. Don't worry, I'll make you look so beautiful that you'll take their breath away. They walked into the makeup room. Chen Ge set Xiao Wan down before the mirror and used the ball of his palm to slowly massage her face. Activating elementary skill, Mortician's Makeup. Looking at the youthful girl in the mirror, many memories that Chen Ge felt did not belong to him suddenly appeared in his mind. It was a chaotic mess. There was not only knowledge about color matching and other makeup skills, but also human anatomy, physiology, bone structure, and the study of death. Boss, are you sure you know how to do makeup? 30 seconds had passed. Su Wan sat before the mirror, feeling the unfamiliar temperature of the hand on her face. Looking at the reflection of her face, which her boss was fussing over, her heart started to race, and she felt weirdly shy for some reason. A good makeup artist will come up with different styles according to the face shape of his client. And Xiao Wan, I have to say, you have a pretty good base already. There were literally no dirty thoughts on Chen Ge's mind. After he activated the Mortician's Makeup skill, Su Wan had already become a corpse in his mind. Hammer, shaver, scalpel, needle and thread, formaldehyde, alcohol. Sigh, I'm missing all these things. Looks like I'll have to settle with the most basic makeup. Chen Ge mumbled to himself, scaring Su Wan quite a bit. The girl could not understand why her boss would require so many scary instruments for a simple haunted house makeup. She was feeling slightly spooked, but since she did not feel like it was appropriate to say no to her boss, all she could was glance at the progress through her half-shut eyes and pray for the best possible outcome. The foundation is too bland and the blush too bright. Also, where's the lipstick? Chen Ge continued to grumble, and he even started to blend colors. The familiarity and expertise of his movements did not match his appearance of a geek who should not have known any of these things. Su Wan herself was baffled by what was happening before her. Color matching without the aid of online guides or books, this is some high-level makeup skill. Boss, I don't think you should be so hard on yourself. After all, the lighting in the haunted house is so dim, the visitors wouldn't be able to see anything. Shush and stop moving. Chen Ge cut her off and helped her apply the eyeshadow that he had just blended. It was just several strokes of eyeshadow, but it contributed a drastic change to Su Wan's personality. It added an air of mystery and frostiness to her. Su Wan's natural instinct was to mock her boss, but when she saw her reflection in the mirror, her tiny mouth fell open. A blush of just cherry red will be too simple, lacks layering, but when combined with some of this purple, it'll be so different. They blend perfectly like they're meant for each other. Chen Ge explained like a makeup guru as he used the brush to blend the two blushes on the back of his palm. Boss, what are you doing? Our haunted house's blush is too gaudy in the hopes of creating a striking visual effect, but that's pushing it a bit too far, so I'm toning it down by first applying and spreading it on my hand. Chen Ge's action was gentle, and minutes later, the blush did become smoother to the eyes, and there was even a brightening effect to it. Now Su Wan's mouth formed a perfect "Oh, boss, you're amazing. Where did you learn all this?" There's plenty more of my talent you haven't seen yet. Makeup and beauty tricks are just things I explore in my free time, Chen Ge explained with a smile. He was in quite a great mood because he now had actual proof that the phone app really could affect the real world. In just 10 minutes, Chen Ge finished Su Wan's makeup. Now take a look, what do you think? The person in the mirror seemed to have walked out of a water painting. She was a quintessential Eastern beauty, but there was simply something off about her. Su Wan could not help but stand up and twirl in front of the mirror. Her expression changed from utter shock to fascination before ending with a shudder. Boss, I've never looked so beautiful in my life. Is this person really me? Of course it is. But, she reached out hesitantly toward the mirror. How come it feels like I'm looking at a dead person? Su Wan's observation also made Chen Ge suck in a cold breath. The purpose of a mortician's makeup was bringing out the beauty of the dead, so naturally Chen Ge's makeup was not meant for the living. Don't worry about it, the amusement park is opening soon, so quickly go change into your clothes and stand by at the second-floor Minghun scenario. Remember to put on your Bluetooth earpiece and listen to my direction. Chen Ge tactfully moved the topic away and shoved Su Wan off to her work. He used the little remaining time he had left to work on the puppets and mannequins in the Minghun scenario set piece. With the aid of Mortician's makeup, all of the mannequins looked creepily alive. I suppose that's all for now. I'll recolor them when I have time. Chen Ge packed up his toolbox and rushed downstairs. Before he reached the entrance, he could already hear the chatter of the visitors. You're also here to seek revenge from the immoral bastard. Yes, the creep caused me to drop my phone and it broke, so what do you think? You people are still lucky. My pants were already on the ground when this thing popped up. I was so scared. The scream left my throat before I could help it. Thinking something happened to me, my parents rushed into my room. So, with not a shred of fabric on me and a roll of toilet paper in my hand, you can imagine how awkward it was. Listening to the visitors' complaints, Chen Ge tried to stop himself from laughing. He took a deep breath and put on a serious countenance before pushing the entrance open. Welcome to my humble house of horrors. Chen Ge's lips curled upward, and he saw the long line of customers. Zio Chen, your place is already packed so early in the morning. Not bad. The worker who was fixing the carousel gasped with surprise. As he was about to wander over to greet Chen Ge, he realized how curious these visitors were looking. They did not look like the normal happy park goers. It's okay. I'm just glad for the support. Chen Ge shrugged as he pulled the gate open. Who said we're here to support you? Shameless. We're here to resolve debts, not to play. Is he the real deal? You're the one who uploaded video last night. Where's my knife? Hand me my knife. The visitors were so passionate that it was total chaos, but Chen Ge spoke over them. Since you're already here, why don't you come in for an experience? The best way to counter fear is to find a more intense stimulation. Fight poison with poison, so to speak, to desensitize yourself to the fear. Indeed, it is my fault for not giving more warning for yesterday's video, and for that, I apologize, so how about this? All the tickets into the haunted house will be 50% off today. Don't miss out on such a wonderful discount. Chapter 7, Minghun. Fight poison with poison. Do you think we're that easily fooled? Bro, just give me some money to fix my phone display, and I'll leave. You think you can make this go away with a discounted ticket? No way. After several minutes of arguing, there were still no visitors who showed any intention of entering the haunted house. They stayed firmly outside the gate, as if the entrance was a line of minefields. They were so terrified that even Chen Ge could not help but sigh. No one dares to come in just to give it a try. My haunted house is not even scary. If you don't believe me, feel free to check the online reviews. As he said so, some in the crowd really did do that. Indeed, all the reviews say the place is not scary. The only good thing about it is apparently they hire a pretty lady to play the ghost. Then, shall we give it a try? Yet another long wait later, finally someone stepped forward. Bunch of cowards, this is just a haunted house. How scary can it be? I've seen plenty of human carcasses. Do you think I'll be afraid of this? The person who stepped forth was a bushy-browed young man with a crew cut. He looked rather unassuming. Bro, stop joking with us. Even bluffing has a limit to it. Just how old are you? Yet you want us to believe you've seen real human carcasses. We're all scaredy cats here, so why are you lying to us? Just as the voices of derision gathered, a rather soft but firm voice cut through the cacophony. He's not lying. Facing human carcasses is indeed a daily business for people like us. The crowd turned toward the voice, and they saw a tall, slender woman in a sun hat and a white dress walking over from the park entrance. Her facial expression was cold, and it was as if she carried a personal air conditioner with her because the temperature around her felt rather low. Senior, the young man bounced like a rabbit toward the woman, attempting to help her with her bag, but he was deterred by a wintry glare from the woman. He stood where he was, all flustered with an awkward yet polite smile on his face. Wait, did you just call her senior? You two are still students. Chen Ge's attention was also drawn to these two young people. We're forensic science students from Jiujiang Medical University. My name is He-san, and this is my senior, Gao Ru Zhu. The young man smiled at Chen Ge. The video you uploaded last night has been shared on our school's forum, and my senior decided to pay this place a visit after watching it. That unapproachable beauty is a forensic doctor. Although, her presence does match her profession nicely. Miss, how about we be friends? The male visitors started to crowd around the woman. Acting as her guardian, He-san merely smiled and said, I don't think you all understand what you're getting into. The other morning, my senior cut open some toads or rats, but right after washing her hands, she happily sauntered over to the canteen to have braised meat completely unaffected. When she passed the lab late last night and saw the bodies soaked in formaldehyde, she yawned and greeted them nicely. Listen to my advice and measure yourself. The number of men she has operated on is probably higher than the number of girls any one of you have held the hand of. This unique introduction had achieved the result he wanted. Instantly, a 2-meter radius emptied around the woman. Chen Ge also felt a mounting headache upon hearing the young man's introduction. It was not easy for him to finally finish the nightmare mission and receive the reward, but the first challenger his updated haunted house received was a pair of forensic science students. Since their degree was in forensic science, naturally, they would have a fear threshold higher than most. Can we go in now? The woman strode impatiently to stand before Chen Ge. She was already tall, but in her heels, she was practically on the same level as Chen Ge. The original ticket price is 20, so with the 50% discount, it'll be 10. Before we go in, I would like to provide the haunted house's background and a warning. Chen Ge remembered the tips provided by the black phone. One of the 3 important features of a haunted house was its plot and background. It would help the visitors get into the mood. First, an introduction. Even though many online reviews say my haunted house is not scary, as a responsible proprietor, I wish to divulge to both of you some facts. The ground we're on was the largest mass grave in Jiujiang City 50 years ago. 30 years ago, due to city planning. They flattened the graves and built the Jiujiang City Hospital on the site. What happened next you can easily find out on the internet. The hospital was forced to close down due to the frequent occurrence of many incidents that could not be explained, and my haunted house is a remodeled hospital building that was behind. It still hides many secrets that concern the ill-fated hospital. After that, Chen Ge pointed at the warning sign beside the main entrance. No entry to visitors with a heart condition or vascular disease. Visitors above 12 and below 16 have to be accompanied at all times by their parents or guardians. If there are no questions, please follow me. Chen Ge pulled open the black heavy drapes, closed the rusted gate, and led He-san as well as Gao Ru-zu down the dark corridor. Since they cannot share the same room in life, they'll share the same grave in death. This is a local urban legend that has been passed down for many generations. Ping Jiang, who wished to set up a Minghun for her son, who unfortunately passed away too soon. Therefore, she invited a fortune teller to take a look at her son's life and fortune map before finally pinpointing a girl as the perfect candidate to accompany his son in death. However, the girl already had someone else in her heart. To make her submit, Ping Jianghu killed her lover by shoving him into a lake and threatened the girl's parents' lives. Finally, to protect her parents, the girl agreed to marry a dead man. Red and white candles stood side by side, a wedding coupled with a death. After the girl was sealed in the coffin and buried alive, many weird things started to happen to the Ping household. The statues of bronze chicks started to bleed, and the paper dolls burned for the dead were found blinking. And every midnight, a woman could be seen wandering the halls. The scenario that you'll be experiencing this time is called Minghun. The set is completely open. You can go anywhere you wish, but you need to locate the correct exit in less than 15 minutes. If you wish to surrender, stand under any of the available cameras and scream for help. I'll fetch you. Chen Ge stopped at the second-floor entrance and bowed. Enjoy. That sounds interesting, but if you think that's enough to scare me, you're sorely mistaken. He-san rambled shamelessly while he hid behind his senior. His lips said he was not afraid, but his feet seemed screwed shut to the ground, unwilling to move. In comparison, Gao Ru-zu was more collected. She entered the scenario wordlessly. Senior, wait for me. After the two visitors entered, Chen Ge locked the front door entrance and called Su Wan. Xiao Wan, our guests have entered, be prepared. Also remember to put your earpieces in. After giving all the necessary orders, Chen Ge returned to the main control room. This small room was where he could see the different cameras and where he could control all of the setups. I really didn't think I will be using this music so soon since it does sound a bit dark, but since they're not normal visitors, I have no choice. Chen Ge turned on the audio system and put the Black Friday music on repeat. With everything in place, he sat before the monitor watching He-san and Gao Ru-zu closely. If anything weird happened to them, he would rush in to save them immediately. Chapter 8, Black Friday. Xiao-san, this is a perfect opportunity for you to brush up on your traditional Chinese architecture knowledge. This is an almost perfect reconstruction of a traditional Sahayuan one. There are 3 layers of entrance. Daoziuwu 2, the main house, the ear houses 3, Kaoshu Corridor 4, Chui Hua Men 5, east and west houses, the back house, Ruyador 6, and so on. I'm impressed by the attention to detail. It really does feel like you've traveled back in time. Gao Ru-zu walked through the set pieces, stopping occasionally to study the details. Senior, we're inside a haunted house, not on a study trip, do you mind? Their footsteps echoed through the empty courtyard in which paper money was fluttering. It was as if He-san was in a different dimension compared to Gao Ru-zu. He turned back every few seconds, afraid that something might jump out at him from the dark corners. We'd better find the exit as soon as possible. This place makes me jumpy. Since we're already here, of course, we have to savor the experience. Remember, we're customers. Don't let the haunted house toy with you. But don't you remember the boss warned that we have to find the exit in less than 15 minutes? Based on the evil look of that guy, I'm sure he has something scary planned if we are unable to escape in 15 minutes. Hisan tried to urge Gao Ruzu, but the latter was not at all affected. There are only so many tactics that a haunted house can employ. At worst, they'll have the workers dress up as ghosts to chase us around. Zio-san, you deal with dead bodies every day. Don't tell me that you've suddenly decided to be afraid of ghosts. As Gao Ruzu wandered down the hugging corridor, she pushed open the door to the left ear house. The set piece of Minghun was typical of an old Beijing Sehaiyuan. The main house was the living building for the elderlies and the head of the house. The east and west houses were for the sons and daughters, while the ear houses were for the servants and maids. As the door was pushed open, the tables and chairs in the room tumbled over. The pillows on the bed were shredded, causing cotton fluff to float up into the air. A white hanging cloth swayed right in the middle of room. "Senior, I'll guard the door, be careful inside." Before Hisan could finish, he was dragged into the room by Gao Ruzu. His body froze, and his face blanched watching the white cloth sway in the windless room. Interesting, the cloth is at least 1.5 meters off the ground. This height is not enough to cause strangulation from hanging. The tumbled chairs and tables, as well as the signs of struggle on the floor. The haunted house is trying to create the illusion that this was a forced suicide. But the ear houses were meant for the maids. This means that the specter refused to spare even those who are unrelated to her death. She's hell-bent on torturing those in this house to their death. Behind Gao Ruzu's clear analysis, there was a hint of excitement. The design of this haunted house is quite impressive. There might still be other hidden secrets that we haven't discovered yet. She walked around the room and yanked off the faded bed cover. Lying underneath, it was a paper doll. A paper doll lying in a living person's bed. Gao Ruzu tossed the doll to the side and bent down to flip the mattress over. There was nothing underneath. The greater the anticipation, the greater the disappointment. Looks like I've overestimated this haunted house. Let's go, the exit is not in this room. She shrugged before walking out. Hisan, who had been left alone in the living room, had his teeth chattering. Perhaps it was the angle, but he swore he saw the paper doll, which was lying on the floor, wink at him. The statues of bronze chicks started to bleed, and the paper dolls burned for the dead were found blinking. "Senior, wait for me." As the door to the ear house closed, the white cloth in the room stopped swaying. "Can you be a little quieter? Why are you screaming left and right? Stop acting like such a little girl, man up." Gao Ruzu rolled her eyes at Hisan as she waited for him to catch up. "I'm not scared, but this place seriously makes me feel uncomfortable, and the longer we stay here, the stronger that feeling becomes. Don't you feel like something is amplifying our deepest fear?" Hisan's words hit the nail on the head. Gao Ruzu thought about it, and she also realized that something was off. The most important quality of a forensic doctor was the ability to stay calm no matter the situation. But when she was scolding Hisan earlier, her composure was shattered. This hadn't happened to her before. "Could it be that I too am feeling afraid? But why should I be afraid? Everything here is obviously fake." A crack started to form on Gao Ruzu's internal defense. Neither of them could figure out the source of their fear. With the combined effect of suspicion and psychological terror, the seed of fear had started to grow in their hearts. "Say, do you think there is really something or someone inhabiting this place? After all, the boss did say this place is built on top of a mass grave and is a remodeled abandoned hospital." "Shush, our university's morgue is even scarier than this. You're a forensic doctor. How is it that you're so easily scared?" Even though Gao Ruzu said that she was not afraid, It was noticeable that the speed of her speech had increased. She looked around her. The old house, the morning hall, dead trees, the paper money, they were all set pieces. They weren't scary. So, what is it that I'm afraid of? The two were so distracted by their environment that they did not notice the background music that was on repeat. This band song called Black Friday had slowly, but surely snuck its way into their hearts, evoking their sense of fear. Zio-san, how long have we been in here already? I have no idea, but I have a feeling we won't be able to escape in 15 minutes. Don't fret, give me some time to think about this, Gaoru said as she wandered down the corridor. This haunted house is not that scary. It's because the boss has been giving us negative psychological suggestions. Ever since we entered the haunted house, he has been stressing points like mass grave, live burial, ghosts, and stuff. That is a classic method to weaken our hearts. However, the most cunning part of this man is, even though he has set up a time limit, he did not say what will happen if we fail. This creates a natural pressure on ourselves, causing our minds to fill in the blank with the scariest speculation. Then, what do you think we should do now? This haunted house feels a bit different from others. He-san was an honest boy. He would do what his senior asked him to do. You're not wrong there. A normal haunted house hires actors to dress up as ghosts or uses plenty of setups to paint gory scenes to scare us. But this haunted house doesn't do that. He has prepared the set beforehand and allows us to wander about it freely. Without guidance and a set plot, there's no telling what will happen. I understand what you mean. The scariest is the unknown. He-san nodded. That explanation is as good as any. Gaoru frowned imperceptibly. Come on, let's move on to the next room. The ear house was attached to the main house. After pushing open the wooden door, it revealed a room filled with mourning outfits and a painted coffin sitting right in the middle of the room. The red coffin had a big, Chinese letter character, cut out from white paper pasted in the middle of it. Standing in two neat rows beside it were plenty of paper mannequins. Each of them had a name written on their back, and they all wore thin makeup on their faces. Their eyes seemed to glow as the door was pushed open, and they appeared to be quietly staring at the two figures standing at the door. Chapter 9, Scared to Tears. Senior, how come I feel like these paper mannequins are looking at us? He-san grabbed hold of the wooden door, refusing to step into the room. I'm not kidding. Something must be wrong with them. Could it be that they're all living people playing dress-up F***CK? I have a feeling they're all going to move soon enough. The paper mannequins that had been touched up by Chen Ge using Mortician's makeup had something weird about them. They were obviously inanimate objects, but there was a certain liveliness to them. Gaoru glared angrily at He-san. She thought to herself, why did I bring him with me today? Fear is contagious. I was not so afraid to begin with, but because of him, even I feel slightly affected. Do you mind keeping your opinions to yourself? If you give any more useless observations like that, I'm just going to leave you here. She was the first to step into the room to take a cursory look around. The windows in the main house were just decorative. They did not lead outside. Senior, let's go. This building is heavy with yin energy, and the place is sealed. The exit is definitely not here. The owner of this haunted house is a master manipulator who knows how human psychology works, so we have to act the complete opposite of how a normal people would. A place like this that does not seem to harbor the exit is exactly where we need to examine closer. Gaoru walked around the room, sending up wafts of air that caused some of the paper mannequins that had toppled to the floor to scrape unnaturally. He-san's heart was at his throat, still standing outside the door. But there's no hiding place in this room. You can see every surface. Where can the exit possibly be hidden? No hiding place? Who told you that? Gao Ruzu stopped at the middle of the room, raised her fair leg to step on the red coffin. Come help me, we're opening this coffin. Open that thing. He San's white lips were quivering. Isn't that a bit too disrespectful? You plan to spend the rest of your life in this haunted house. Under constant urging from Gao Ruzu, He San moved inch by inch deeper into the room. He made sure to stay far away from the paper mannequins. He bent over to grab one side of the coffin's lid. On the count of 3, pull. Okay. 1, 2. Dong! Gao Ruzu was only halfway through the countdown when there was a loud noise in the room. What was that? He San's soul practically jumped out of his skin. Shush! Gao Ruzu put her finger to her lips to have him quiet down. She looked around before her gaze eventually fell on the red coffin before her. The sound seems to have come from inside the coffin. When she said so, color drained from He San's face. His Adam's apple trembled unevenly, and his hands, which were holding the coffin lid, were shaking like he was holding a hot iron brand. Senior, I beg of you, there's nothing here, can we go now? Calm down. The sound only occurred when we planned to open the lid. Don't you think that's very strange? Senior, the coffin just made a sound. That's a hell of a lot more than strange. He San's fear was greatly amplified by Black Friday. At that moment, he just wanted to leave as soon as possible. Think about it, there are only 2 reasons that a coffin could make a sound. 1, there's a worker hiding in it waiting to scare us when we open the coffin. 2, there's a hidden machine set up inside it, and activating it will cause some changes to this Minghun scenario. So no matter which possibility it is, this coffin is crucial to this scenario. If we wish to escape, we have to open this coffin. Gao Ruzu slapped the lid twice, adding, Don't hesitate, just pull it open. Even though I have no idea what you just said, it did sound quite logical. He San and Gao Ruzu applied their strength at the same time, and the heavy coffin lid started to slide. When the coffin was a quarter of the way open, the ancient-looking coffin suddenly exploded with a loud bang without warning. Innumerable paper mannequins and paper money shot out from within the coffin, and a strange woman's laugh filled the room. At that moment, the main house door started to close on its own. Let's go before it's too late. He San did not hesitate. He was close to the entrance, and in his hurry to escape, he had forgotten completely about his senior. He dashed to the door in several steps, but before he could jump through the door, the face of a woman flew in front of him. It was a death visage that was pale, exquisite, and breathtakingly beautiful. F***CK? He San's first reaction was to raise his arm to punch at the face. However, the owner of said face seemed to have predicted his reaction because it easily swiveled away from his assault. Ghost, help! He San collapsed to the floor and half crawled, half ran in a random direction. He San, don't sprint around aimlessly. Gao Ruzu yelled at the top of her lungs when she saw a red shadow follow He San into the building he chose to hide in. The side houses are for the sons and daughters. This is bad. The place He San has gone into was the living area for the specter before she died. Gao Ruzu rushed outward, but she realized the door had locked. She banged on the wooden door cursing, divide and conquer. Isn't this just a haunted house attraction? Is it really necessary to do such a sick thing? The coffin had broken in pieces, and the paper mannequins littered the floor. Gao Ruzu, who was trapped, had completely lost her collected composure. She punched and kicked at the door and finally got it to open 1 minute later. However, in that 1 minute, everything outside the main house seemed to have changed. Zio-san, He San! Gao Ruzu shouted twice, but there was no answer. Other than the eerie background music, there was only the shuffling sound of paper money brushing against each other as her reply. What's going on? The haunted house is only so big, so it is impossible for He San not to have heard me. Or did some accident befall him? For a reason Gao Ru Zhu couldn't explain, an image of a crime scene flashed across her mind. She trailed down the corridor and found her way to the West House by tracing her memory. Zio-san ran in this direction earlier. As the old wooden door creaked open, the celebratory calligraphy written on white paper fluttered to the ground. Gao Ru Zhu stepped into the room. The room was decorated as a newlywed room, but instead of red, the color of celebration, all the decorations were white, the Chinese funereal color. It was creepy to say the least. Where has he run off to? The atmosphere in the room was off. The only light source was the white lantern hanging outside the door. Gao Ru Zhu stepped slowly forward as cold drafts blew in from behind her. Her exposed skin was chilled like there were small invisible hands in the air caressing her skin. The paper money crunched under her feet, and occasionally she would kick something hard that she could not tell the identity of because it was too dark. She gritted her teeth and powered on. Gao Ru Zhu pulled the drapes in the room open to let some of the light in. The place was empty other than a bed that was covered underneath, a mosquito net as well as a set of bronze mirrors that sat facing each other next to the wall. I saw He-san run into this room with my own 2 eyes. Only 1 or 2 minutes have passed since then, so he could not have disappeared so soon. Unless the exit is in this room, and He-san accidentally stumbled across it. Gao Ru Zhu took a deep breath before deciding to perform a closer examination of the room. However, as she took the first step, she heard a second set of footsteps falling closely behind hers. Who's behind me? She whipped around, but she only saw a bronze mirror and her reflection in the mirror itself. Chapter 10. Mirror, Mirror. Phew, scared myself for no reason. Gao Ru Zhu's chest rose unevenly as her heart beat at an impossible speed. It had been such a long time since she had acted such a fool. The creepy music continued to play. Using the weak light, she could see the pupils of her reflection in the mirror start to shrink. In the mirror, the mosquito net behind her was opening on its own. The face of a paper mannequin showed itself, and from the reflection in the mirror, she could clearly see that it was smiling at her. Who's there? A human being's normal go-to reaction during extreme fear was anger and aggression. Gao Ru Zhu turned around, but there was nothing there. She ran toward the mosquito net to yank it open to take a look at what was really behind it. However, the design of the net was more complicated than she expected. It had many different layers, and the netting was connected to the bed itself. Instead of untangling the net, Gao Ru Zhu got herself stuck in the netting instead. Right then, she could hear footsteps coming from inside the room. I'm not moving, so whose footsteps are those? The disappearance of her junior combined with the effect of Black Friday had completely shattered Gao Ru Zhu's psychology defense. The sound of the unknown footsteps was the last straw that ultimately broke the camel's back. Her legs turned to jelly, and she found herself unable to move. Fear was like an uncaged animal, tearing at her sense of rationality. Gao Ru Zhu yanked on the netting, trying her best to untangle herself from it, but it was to no avail. The sound of footsteps became suspiciously close. Impossible. The room is only so big if someone was coming near. I'd definitely be able to see it. Her heart was a chaotic mess, to the extent that even the simple decorations inside the room were sending chills down her spine. The white lantern outside the window swayed in the wind, causing the light in the room to dim. Her reflection in the bronze mirror started to blur. Gao Ru Zhu's pupils shook because she realized the reflection in the mirror was no longer herself, but a strange woman in a wedding dress. In more ways than one, the woman's appearance seemed like she was dressed to kill. Her beauty had an ethereal quality to it. It was frighteningly captivating, like looking at a recently unearthed piece of art. Staring at the woman in the mirror, Gao Ru Zhu's lips quivered, and fear appeared on her face for the first time. From her experience dealing with so many autopsies, she was familiar with the feeling the woman in the mirror was giving her. This was the face of a dead person. The haunted house is hiding a real dead body. Just as this thought entered her mind, fear swallowed her like a giant wave. She tried her best to run away from the bronze mirror, and as she staggered back, she knocked into something. At the same time, the sound of footsteps stopped, and Gao Ru Zhu's mind went completely blank in that moment. Having lost the ability to think, she turned instinctively to look behind her. Meeting her gaze was a woman in dead man's makeup and wedding dress. She smiled at her. Ah! The piercing scream shattered the quietness of the haunted house. It could be heard even outside the building itself. With her arms still entangled in the netting, Gao Ru Zhu's legs finally gave, and she collapsed to the ground. The suppressed fear manifested as tears, which fell uncontrollably. Her eyes were screwed shut, and her mouth was slightly open. The woman started to dry heave. "Zio Wan, quickly bring her out." "Okay." The female ghost standing before Gao Ru Zhu removed her Bluetooth earpieces that were hidden under her hair and squatted down to say, "The experience ends here. Please catch your breath. I'll lead you out now." 10 seconds later, the exit to the Minghun scenario was pushed open. Chen Ge rushed over in a hurry and asked, "There's only one. Where's the other one?" He rushed over in a hurry because he could not locate Hisan on the surveillance cameras. That coward fainted when he ran into the room and saw the two mirrors. I was afraid that he might influence the experience of the next visitor, so I dragged him to hide him under the bed. Fainted. Chen Ge also did not know how to respond. "Safety, S first. If this happens again in the future, inform me immediately." "Yes, boss." After leaving Su Wan to look after Gao Ru Zhu, Chen Ge went into the room to pull Hisan out from behind the bed. The young man was completely unconscious, like he was greatly traumatized. *T, I have to bring him to somewhere open air first. Chen Ge carried Hisan and ran toward the entrance of the haunted house. He peeled back the heavy drapes and kicked the gate open. "Clear some space, please." Chen Ge placed Hisan at the entrance of the haunted house, and he started to massage the young man and place ice packs over his forehead, trying to rouse him. This development had stunned the visitors that still had not left the park. Jesus Christ, what happened in there? Visit the haunted house until he fainted. This is first time I've seen something like this. He was scared until he fainted, right? So why would the online reviews say this place is not scary? F*CK, I'm starting to have chills. Not long after that, Su Wan came out carrying Gao Ru Zhu. The woman was a complete contrast from the person who walked in. The new Gao Ru Zhu's hair was a mess, her face was blanched, and her gait was weak. There were still tears drying on her face. This is a completely different person. What did she experience in there? But why should they be afraid? Aren't they forensic students? Su Wan placed Gao Ru Zhu on the steps and passed her a bottle of water. The woman was still recovering from the experience, as evidenced by her hands that were shaking as she held the bottle. "Don't crowd around them, they need air." Chen Ge also felt a headache coming. It was normal for Gao Ru Zhu to be shedding frightened tears, but what about this young man? Why would he suddenly faint? Why didn't he admit that he was easily scared what was with men and their pride? The commotion caused more and more visitors to gather at the haunted house. This attracted the attention of the park manager, who rushed over on his electronic bike. "Zio Chen, what is going on here? Why is there a fainted visitor on the ground?" asked Uncle Su as he jumped down from his bike and pushed through the crowd. "I have no idea. Maybe it's the heat." Even Chen Ge did not feel convinced by his answer. A hot flash in this kind of weather. Uncle Su rushed over to pick up Hisan and place him on his bike. Regardless, We have to send him to the medical room first." Several minutes later, perhaps it was the massage or the noise from the crowds, He-san started to rouse. His eyelashes fluttered and sat up from the bike. His eyes were bloodshot, and his mouth kept on mumbling, "Mirror, mirror." "Son, keep calm. Look, doesn't he look possessed?" After a few more minutes in the sun, He-san finally became more like himself. He scratched the back of his head and blushed with shame when he realized the whole crowd was staring at him. "Are you feeling better? Why did you faint inside the haunted house?" Uncle Sue in the park uniform passed a bottle of water to He-san. "I actually cannot recall for sure what had happened. I was so scared and ran into the first door that I saw. There was a bronze mirror on the wall, and I remembered someone calling my name, but I can't remember what happened after that," He-san said, with a face filled with confusion. "Perhaps it's something set up by the haunted house. There's a scenario related to a mirror inside the haunted house." Uncle Sue turned toward Chen Ge, who was not looking so good. Chapter 11. How do you sleep at night? When He-san mentioned that his fainting had to do with mirror, Chen Ge's heart skipped a beat. He was instantly reminded of the game from the previous night and how the thing inside the mirror had been stopped from escaping by the doll. From the look of it, the creature still had not left, hiding the mirrors of the haunted house. "Boss, is this a new thing just added to the haunted house? How come I've not heard of it before?" Suwon also wandered over, pulling the gaze of the crowd along with her. Chen Ge was caught in an awkward position. He could not just confess that there was an actual ghost living inside the haunted house, could he? If he did that, the haunted house would be forced into closure, but more than that, he would be dragged to the mental hospital. "I guess you can say that. It's related to the short video I uploaded last night, but I don't recommend playing this game without professional guidance." Chen Ge patted He-san lightly on his shoulder. "If you do not take my advice, you might end up in the same state as this young man. All right, who still wishes to visit the haunted house. Don't worry, there are bound to be accidents in a haunted house. That's what makes it interesting, yes." "Interesting my backside. A man fainted. It's a haunted house visit, so why should we put our lives on the line?" "He's right. I'll forget about my broken phone as long as you don't post any more weird-ass videos in the middle of the night." "Thanks, but no thanks." As Chen Ge extended the invitation, the crowd stepped away from him in unison. He laughed awkwardly. "Why are you all acting like that? My haunted house is really not that scary." "Bro, we have 2 forensic science students who deal with dead bodies every day here. One is in tears and the other fainted. Now you're telling us your haunted house is not scary. Who are you lying to? How can you lie without batting an eye?" "That's right, have some morals." The comments from the crowd stumped Chen Ge. Initially, when the haunted house was supposedly not scary, no one wanted to visit because, apparently, it was too boring. Now, when it was finally scary, it seemed to have overshot the effect he wanted. "But you came from all over the country just to stand at the entrance and watch. Guts can be trained. An occasional scare here and there will be able to increase your heart rate, thus improving your blood circulation. Even if you give us money, we're not going into that place. And improve blood circulation some more, you might as well say your haunted house can cure cancer." The man who had his phone broken retorted before turning to leave. However, right then, a middle-aged uncle standing beside him suddenly raised his voice to say, "Boss, give me a ticket." His voice was firm, like he had come to this decision after much contemplation. F***CK, there really are thrill-seekers everywhere. "Uncle, don't be rash. Other haunted houses take your money, but his haunted house takes your life." "Uncle, you've impressed me with your courage. Go on, don't worry. You can leave your wife and your daughter with me." The uncle looked to be over 40, and his head was balding. He walked out from the crowd and gave Chen Ge $10. "One ticket, please." "You're doing this alone." Even Chen Ge was impressed by this middle-aged man. He dared to do this after witnessing what had happened earlier. After taking the money, Chen Ge gave the uncle his ticket. He was about to go through his introductions when the uncle took the ticket and walked off in the other direction from the haunted house's gate. "Uncle, the door is right this way." "I know." The uncle did not turn back and continued to walk to a rather photogenic spot. He pulled out his phone to mess with the camera angle until he managed to encapsulate most of the haunted house building in the frame. He snapped 2 pictures before posting them to his Facebook. "The weather today is perfect for a day out. I personally recommend this western Jiujiang city's House of Horrors. It scared the bejesus out of me when I visited the place. Highly recommended." The crowd could not help but roll their eyes. All you did was stay at the entrance for about 20 minutes and purchase a ticket. You call that visiting the place? Before the crowd could say anything, the uncle already got likes and replies from his social circle. Zio Li from Human Resources responded, "Brother Zhang, you're scared of even the common rat, but you dared to visit a haunted house today. My man, nice job." This means that the haunted house isn't that scary if all Zhang dares to visit it. Wicked grin, replied Wang Dayu. "Dinner is served. Come home soon." All ball and chain's response was relatively off-topic. Precious daughter, Wang Jing, laughed. "LOL, Dad, we're all very familiar with the type of courage you have, so stop with the hapless struggle." The balding uncle didn't mind the comments but replied with a mischievous smile. "Feel free to visit this place on your own. Since you all claim to be braver than I am, I'm sure none of you will be afraid to take up this challenge, right?" This series of actions had stunned the crowd. "Uncle, how cunning you are. To prove that you're not a scaredy cat, you're entrapping your very own wife and daughter." The man who had broken his phone stood beside the uncle and saw the whole process. Then he rushed toward Chen Ge and demanded, "Give me a ticket as well." Chen Ge had no explanation to this development, but since he was operating a business, he could not say no to his customers. After passing the young man his ticket, he saw the young man operate his broken phone to snap a picture and upload it onto Instagram with the caption, "God, what did I do? I realize I'm easily scared. Who can come to hold my hands as we challenge this haunted house together?" Reading through the many comments that appeared under his photo, the young man had a devilish smile on his face. "Give me 1 ticket too." "Me too." 50% off, you say? Then give me 2. There was no visitor inside the haunted house, but the tickets in Chen Ge's hands quickly disappeared. In just a few minutes, about half the stack was gone. The crowd slowly dispersed, and Chen Ge started to happily count the day's earning. "Boss, the tickets we sold this morning are more than the total tickets we have sold in the whole month." Su Wan squatted down beside Chen Ge, and the excitement in her eyes could not be suppressed. "We merely got lucky today. To make sure we have a constant stream of visitors, we have to improve on our content first." Chen Ge placed the cash inside his pocket and turned to head back inside the haunted house. It was then that he realized his victims of the day, Gao Ru Zhu and He San, still hadn't left the scene. "Are you two feeling any better?" Chen Ge walked toward them with an offering of mineral water. After all, they were crucial to him having such good sales that day. "Yes, thank you, and sorry for the trouble," He San, who sat on the steps, uttered awkwardly. Beside him, the color still had not returned to Gao Ru Zhu's face yet. Her gaze wandered between Chen Ge and Su Wan before she said, "I have 2 questions I want to ask, may I?" "Sure," Chen Ge nodded readily. "Number 1, inside the West House, I swore I saw this girl's face in the mirror, so how could she suddenly appear behind me?" Gao Ru Zhu intended to get to the bottom of the truth. She had a hard time coming to terms with that fact that she had been so scared that she cried. "You think that's a normal mirror, but it's actually not. It's actually a triangular pillar with mirrors on each side, but the two other sides are normally hidden behind the wall. It can be moved with a slight push. The exit to the Minghun scenario is actually behind the mirror. Regarding the woman you saw in the mirror, it was merely a picture that was pasted at particular angle. Using lighting effects, the other mirror, and optical illusions, it creates the illusion that you're looking at a real person. Xiao Wan was actually hiding behind the mirror. The sound of footsteps you heard was merely a sound effect. Gao Ru Zhu nodded after listening to Chen Ge's explanation. All right, the second question. She pointed at Su Wan. This lady is obviously alive, but how come, looking at her, I have this feeling that I'm looking at a dead body? Chapter 12, Wheel of Misfortune. Due to her field of study, the time Gao Ru Zhu spent in the company of dead bodies was far greater than the time she spent around living human beings. She was not good at social events, but that did not bother her much because she felt more comfortable in the presence of dead bodies after all. Our haunted house employs a special makeup technique, and that, combined with the unique environment of the haunted house, creates nothing more than an illusion in your mind. The mortician's makeup as well as Black Friday were something that he could not attempt to explain even if he tried to. Therefore, he answered the question broadly and quickly moved the conservation away. If there are no more questions, I'll need to get back to work. Thank you for visiting us today. After saying goodbye to the two students, Chen Ge ordered Su Wan to go clear up the props in the Minghun scenario, while he returned to the main control room alone. What really happened to He San was known to Chen Ge alone. The creature in the mirror hadn't left and was still hiding inside the haunted house. Letting it stay will only create more problems for me in the future. This was his first time dealing with a nightmare mission, so he had not expected that it would have such complicated repercussions. After turning off the background music, Chen Ge pulled out the surveillance camera to focus on the few minutes after He San entered the West House. After flipping through the videos captured from multiple angles, he soon discovered something. It was at 24 minutes and 11 seconds past 9:00 that He San ran into the West House. He was running about like a headless chicken. At 24 minutes and 14 seconds, when his eyes fell on the bronze mirror, a very curious image appeared on screen. The originally frantic He San became suspiciously calm after he saw the mirror. He stood before the mirror completely immobile. Chen Ge would have thought the video had stopped if not for the ticking time frame on screen. At 24 minutes and 17 seconds, He San suddenly raised his left hand and started to walk slowly toward the mirror. It looked like someone or something was dragging him toward the mirror. At 24 minutes and 20 seconds, Su Wan, wearing a wedding dress, ran into the room from the open door. By then, He San's upper body was almost touching the mirror, and there was a flash of something in the mirror that was captured by the camera. Right after that, He San fainted to the ground. It was Xiao Wan's arrival that interrupted the creature's plan. Chen Ge played the video on loop. Plenty of stuff happened in those 10 seconds. He rubbed his temples, but he could not come up with a good solution. Until I can come up with a more permanent solution, it looks like the only thing I can do now is cover up all the mirrors in this haunted house. Chen Ge wandered back to the props room to grab several black clothes before returning to the Minghun set. Boss, why are you here? Just leave the cleaning up to me. Su Wan saw Chen Ge while she was picking up the paper mannequins and paper money to put them back into coffin. I came to inform you of something. Temporarily, stop using all the props and scares related to mirrors in the haunted house. Also, when you're working, make sure to stay away from mirrors. Chen Ge carried the black cloth as he helped Su Wan close the fake coffin. Su Wan was baffled by Chen Ge's orders, but she didn't ask. After fixing all the props in the main house, Chen Ge entered the West House alone. The white lantern cast its weak light into the room. He stood at the spot where He-san fainted and stared quietly at the bronze mirror. Someone lives inside the mirror. Could there really be another world inside the mirror? Chen Ge touched the icy surface of the glass and stared at his own reflection for a long time. He could not pinpoint it, but he felt like something was off. When I handed He-san the bottle of water earlier, he used his right hand to take it, which means that he's not left-handed. However, in the video, he raised his left hand. Why would he do something that is opposite of his usual habit? Was he taken control of by the thing in the mirror? Chen Ge placed his left hand on the mirror, which aligned perfectly with his mirrored right hand. After all, everything is inverted inside the mirror. After covering the mirror with a black cloth, Chen Ge pulled out the black phone. This is where it all started. The creature appeared because of this phone. Therefore, it makes sense that if I wish to vanquish it, I'll need the help of this phone. He opened the app with the haunted house icon and soon noticed some changes to the interface. The daily visitor number and monthly visitor number had each increased by 2. Under the window for unlockable scenarios, a trial mission had just become available. After clicking on it, the message said that after finishing the mission, the scenario that it corresponded to would be unlocked. The design of this game seems fair enough. Completing a mission will earn me a reward, and the level of the reward directly corresponds to the difficulty of the mission. If I wish to expand this place further and deal with the thing inside the mirror, I'll need to continue finishing these missions. He could only do one daily mission each day, so Chen Ge's eyes naturally wandered toward the trial mission. Murder by midnight, a dangerous psychotic patient wandered about a fallen apartment. Scissors and mallets as hands, he is just wandering outside of your room. Mission venue, Western countryside's Ping-an apartments. Mission requirement, reach the mission venue before 23:00 today. Look for the party responsible for the murder and survive until dawn. Mission hints, he hides among the crowd like a wolf among a group of sheep. His kind exterior hides a sickened heart. Do you wish to accept this mission? Warning, trial missions are only available for 24 hours. If they are not accepted within these 24 hours, the scenario will never be unlocked. Chen Ge still had some reservations initially, but he decided to accept it after reading the last sentence. Let come what may. Things are finally looking up for the haunted house. I can't give up on any opportunity that will make it better. After accepting the mission, he scrolled down. The haunted wheel of misfortune had been activated without him knowing. Chen Ge clicked on it out of curiosity, and a line of words appeared on screen. The decree of life and death is never the decision of man. Fortune and misfortune are only 1 inch apart. We have both spirit fruits to increase your lifespan as well as hatred-filled baleful specters. Activating the wheel after collecting the visitor's scream for the first time. You've been given a free spin for the first activation. A scream will be collected when it is over 70 decibels. After collecting 100 screams, they can be traded for a chance to spin the wheel of misfortune. 100 screams for 1 spin? Chen Ge frowned reading this detail. This wheel is horrible on so many levels. The condition for activating it is already so difficult, but the result is still randomized. If the result is a baleful specter, then wouldn't it have been a complete waste? Chen Ge looked at the box that said he had 1 spin left, and he felt like pressing it. This feeling was similar to when one saw a message appear on one's phone. It might just have been an advertisement, but one felt compelled to open it. I mean, what can possibly go wrong? Chen Ge told himself, and as his finger tapped the screen lightly, the wheel started to turn. As long as it's not a baleful specter, I'm fine with anything. Chapter 13, Blessing or Curse. Chen Ge looked at the screen with superhuman focus. The wheel gradually slowed until the needle stopped at one of the results. Lucky spin completed. Congratulations for having won a rare special item. Cursed love letter, chance of winning, 3/1000. Her eyes exposed, cheeks white as ash. The moment she fell off the building, she became the taboo of the school. In red dancing shoes and a blood-dyed uniform, even her name became something that was only uttered in frantic whispers. People pretended that she didn't exist, until one day, someone started receiving her love letters again. Getting a baleful spirit on your first lucky spin unlocked rare title, the Spectre's Favored. The Spectre's Favored. When you equip this title, there's a chance you might receive help from the specters. Looking at the information on screen, Chen Ge felt like his head was spinning. Cursed love letter. A 3/1000 chance of winning it. The Spectre's Favored. Before resolving the matter with the creature in the mirror, now I'm blessed with another one. I don't even know whether I should consider myself lucky or unlucky. He regretted cursing himself before activating the lucky spin. Chen Ge, get a grip of yourself. This is not the worst yet. Drawing a baleful specter doesn't mean it'll appear instantly. Perhaps there is still time to salvage this. Maybe I should go light an incense at the nearby temple. He pocketed his phone, and his fingers brushed up against something papery in his pocket. He lowered his head and was shocked to see a yellowed letter poking out of his pocket. With a bad feeling settling in his stomach, Chen Ge pulled out the letter carefully, and there was only a single, simple sentence written on it that was braided using hair. I like you. What the F asterisk CK? Please, tell me what you like about me, and I'll change from this moment on. The handwriting on the paper had a nice curve to it. It would look quite nice if not for the fact that it was braided from hair. Chen Ge stood in the West House, holding the letter in his hands. He mumbled to himself, who would have thought the first love letter I've ever received in my life would be something like this? Boss, what are you grumbling to yourself in here? Xiao Wan came in from behind him after she was done fixing all the stuff in the main house. It's nothing. I'm just thinking. If someone knows his life will end soon, is it right for him to give up on materialistic pursuit to focus on leaving some good deeds in this world? Chen Ge raised his head to look at Xiao Wan in dead man's makeup. For example, to do his best to help produce the human race's next generation. Chen Ge was obviously just rambling, but Su Wan looked at him as if in deep thought, and her face turned serious with contemplation. Xiao Wan, don't tell me you're thinking about saying yes. Thanks, but I'm not ready yet. Then again, we've worked with each other for a long time already, and we do make a great team. I guess if you insist, I suppose I wouldn't have said no. For some reason, Chen Ge felt weirdly nervous. No, boss, it's not that. I'm just curious how you managed to have two shadows following you. Su Wan pointed behind Chen Ge. Is this some new thing you've invented? Two shadows. Chen Ge whipped his head around and saw two shadows, one big and one small, encroaching upon him before finally melding into one. What the F asterisk CK? He yanked Su Wan out of the haunted house immediately. Chen Ge finally relaxed when he felt the sun on his skin. He did not give Su Wan any explanation as he collapsed onto the steps. Boss, you've been acting very out of sorts lately. Is it because of the financial pressure? Su Wan sat down beside Chen Ge. Don't worry, I'm sure everything will be fine. By the way, what do you want to have for lunch? I'll go buy something for you. Listening to Su Wan's words of comfort, Chen Ge also did not know how to answer. He forced a smile and said, I'll just have the same as you, but before you go out, remember to remove your makeup, lest you scare the canteen workers. Understood. After Su Wan left, Chen Ge pulled out the love letter again. I saw the two shadows joining together with my own eyes. If this is a sign that I've been haunted by the specter, does it mean that it's hiding in my shadow? Chen Ge looked at his shadow unblinkingly. With the specter's favored title, I have a chance to earn the aid from the specters, so in way, Winning a baleful specter might not be as bad as I thought. At least that was what Chen Ge told himself on the surface. He knew internally the reason a baleful specter was called a baleful specter was because they died with great anguish. They radiated sin and curses. If he was slightly careless, he might easily end up dead in a ditch somewhere. After lunch, Chen Ge stood in front of the haunted house, handing out flyers. There were quite a number of park visitors, but none wanted to enter the haunted house. Bored out of his mind, Chen Ge opened his video sharing app page and realized there had been a few new private messages. Deleting the trolls and advertisement, Chen Ge personally replied the remaining messages. Soon, he came across a message from He-san. The honest-looking young man surreptitiously came to contact Chen Ge, telling him his school's forum had been exploding. After they found out that his haunted house had played such a big prank on the beauty of their course, many students had stated the desire to level the haunted house. Someone had started a thread to form the warring party, and it had more than a handful of volunteers already. "It's nice to be young," Chen Ge commented with upturned lips. In his mind, however, there was already a vision of hormonal youths quivering in a group trapped inside his haunted house. After completing the trial mission, I'll have them try it out to see how scary the one-star scenario really is. The thought of the trial mission made Chen Ge turn serious. He only had a one-time chance to complete this mission. If he failed, the chance of unlocking that scenario would forever be lost. He looked through the phone to memorize all the available information. Knowing one's enemy is winning half the battle. Therefore, the first thing Chen Ge did after confirming the mission venue was to look up everything he could about the place on the internet. Jiujiang City Western Countryside's Ping'an Apartments. Keying in the name of the location came up with nothing initially. After flipping through the front few pages, Chen Ge finally found something related to this apartment listed on a second-hand house sale website. It was a complaint saying that the seller had the intention of obscuring the truth. In reality, this apartment was a literal haunted house. After peeling off the fresh coat of paint, there were signs of dried blood, and every night the apartment would be filled with the disgusting smell of decay. No one answered the complaint, and it was soon swamped by other more interesting threads. Chen Ge looked at the time of posting, and it was 9 months ago. Staying overnight at a haunted house and having to look for a hidden murderer. Sigh, this is a bit harder than I thought. Chen Ge had studied toy design. He was a complete amateur when it came investigation and self-defense. The hard part is not staying at the haunted house, but what if the murderer is just living next door to me and jumps at me at night? Chapter 14. Missing Persons Notice. At 4:03 p.m., Chen Ge stood alone in the haunted house's props room. He studied the room full of items as if deep in thought. What do you need to prepare to spend a night with a murderer? Identity card, phone, charger, lighter, penknife, multi-uses hammer. Right, mustn't forget this doll as well. Chen Ge shoved the doll that appeared before the mirror the previous night into his bag, and after confirming he had everything he needed, he pulled the zipper of the bag close and left the room. Zio Wan, you can get off work early today. Remember to lock the door when you leave. I have something to attend to do, so I'll go first. Boss, it's only 5 p.m. Are you going on a trip or something? I've left the key on the table in the props room. See you tomorrow morning. Noticing Chen Ge's attempt at changing the subject, Su Wan helplessly replied, Okay. However, as Chen Ge turned around, the girl dropped the haunted house flyers and shot toward the props room in a trail of smoke. This girl! The evening wind ruffled the flyers that were left on the table. Chen Ge shook his head and picked up a pebble to place over them as he sighed. Hopefully, she won't be seeing me on the morning news. Underneath his calm surface, Chen Ge's heart was a chaotic mess. The nightmare mission from the night before had opened a whole new world to him and made him realize there was a certain level of danger to the missions dispensed by the black phone. Trial mission has to be more difficult than daily mission. I have to be more careful tonight. Before the night fell, Chen Ge rode his bicycle to head toward Ping and apartments. The mission information only gave the name of the location. To locate the place, Chen Ge used Google Maps and the information from the online complaint released 9 months ago. Even so, he still exhausted 2 hours before he reached his destination. Are there even people who want to live a place that is so barren and isolated? The road leading to the apartment building was winding and overgrown with wild brushes. There was a noticeable lack of street lighting, and through the tree branches, Chen Ge could catch glimpses of a gray-colored building. On the way there, Chen Ge asked as many people as he could, but most of them hadn't heard of Ping and apartments. In the end, it was a senior who was about 60 years old that pointed him down the correct road and added a little friendly advice. He told Chen Ge that the place was haunted and cursed, so most would give it a wide berth even in daylight. Chen Ge did not know how to answer. If not for the sake of the black phone's mission, who would voluntarily go spend a night at a place like that? It's now 6:05 p.m., and the mission states that I have to be there by 11 p.m. This means that I still have time to have a quick look around. Following the winding road, Chen Ge entered deep into the forest. After traveling for quite some time, he finally saw the legendary cursed house. The yard was surrounded by a tall gray wall, and there was only one exit. Even though the gate that opened on both sides was rusty with age, there was a brand new lock on it. Weird, the lock is so new, but the gate looks old. But wait, what's this? There was a piece of white paper stuck to the iron bars of the gate. Chen Ge assumed it was a flyer, but when he pointed his flashlight at it, he realized it was a missing persons notice. Zhang Qing, female, 27 years old, 157 cm tall on the thin side. There is a beauty mark beneath her right eye. She likes to wear red clothes. If you have any information, please contact Mr. Wang. Monetary rewards will be provided. The notice came with this Mr. Wang's contact number and address. The thing that caught Chen Ge's attention was that the address listed on the notice was the address of this cursed apartment. This sure is weird. Chen Ge's ghost sense was tingling. He pulled out his phone to snap a picture of the notice before entering the compound. The place was bigger than he had expected. The main building had 3 floors, and there were 2 buildings that looked like a storeroom and a water pump room next to it. Based on the peeling of its paint, I believe this place is at least 20 to 30 years old already. However, the place was not as unkempt as one might have assumed it to be. The place was clean, there was no litter, and even the lawn was carefully mown. After he placed his bicycle in the lawn, Chen Ge walked into the main building with his backpack. "Hello, is anyone there?" The long corridor was shadowy. About 10 seconds later, the door closest to the stairs opened up a sliver. "Good afternoon." Chen Ge walked toward the door, but the person behind it did not seem particularly hospitable since the door stopped after opening just a sliver. The lights in the room were not on, and Chen Ge could just about make out the shape of a woman behind the door. Her eyes were bloodshot, like she was fond of sleeping late. It made her look extremely tired. "I wish to ask how much it will cost me to spend a night here," Chen Ge said in a tone that was as kind and soft as he could. However, to his bafflement, the only answer he got was a giggle, and the door slammed in his face. "Ha!" Before he understood what just happened, he heard footsteps coming from the second floor. The only voice-activated light that was installed at the corner of the corridor lit up, and a limping middle-aged man was coming down. He seemed to have overheard Chen Ge because the first thing he said was, "You want to stay at my place. How long do you plan to stay?" "You're the landlord," Chen Ge walked over. I just wish to stay for one night. Just one night. The limping man gave Chen Ge a once-over like he was trying to read his mind. Fine, give me your ID, and the payment is made at the second floor. Chen Ge was about to follow the man upstairs when a loud sound came from outside. It sounded like someone had swung the iron gate open. Hearing this, the limping man frowned, and his features twisted with displeasure. He stopped moving, and Chen Ge had no choice but to wait as well. Not long after that, in walked another middle-aged man who looked awfully tired. He was wearing old, tattered clothes and was holding a stack of papers in his hand. Wang Qi, how many times I've told you. Your girlfriend is not here if you insist on being this stubborn. I'll have to call the police. The limping man stood in the middle of the stairs to block the path. The other man ignored him and continued upstairs with his head lowered. Hey, I'm talking to you, the limping man kicked, causing the unprepared middle-aged man to knock into the wall. The stack of papers slipped from his hands and fluttered all over the staircase. One of them happened to land beside Chen Ge's feet. It's the same as the missing persons notice that I saw outside, Chen Ge thought to himself as he narrowed his eyes. He silently picked it up before continuing to follow the drama that was happening before him. The middle-aged man did not retaliate against the limping man's attack. He crawled up slowly from the ground and carried on to wordlessly pick up the notices that littered the ground. He reminded Chen Ge of a lumbering, lifeless zombie. Don't mind him, the man's crazy. The limping man waved at Chen Ge, ushering him to come upstairs. It seemed like he had given up on the middle-aged man. Crazy. When Chen Ge passed the middle-aged man, he surreptitiously glanced at him. The mission information did mention a psycho, so could this be him? Chapter 15. Landlord. Chen Ge's first impression of Wang Qi was weary, torpid, and weak. As they brushed past each other, Chen Ge handed the other man back the notice he had picked up earlier, and Wang Qi thanked him with a wavering voice. This was the first time Chen Ge had heard the man speak. It sounded gravelly, which gave Chen Ge some trouble in understanding him. You're welcome, Chen Ge responded with a smile before he turned to follow the limping man up the stairs. The second floor was even more dilapidated than the first floor. The place was dark and humid, the corners were filled with uncleaned spider webs, and the walls looked like they had been slashed with knives. The limping man led Chen Ge to the very end of the long corridor. He opened the last room before coming out with a long chain of keys. One night is $50. Take a pick of any room you like on this floor. $50? That's too expensive. My apartment is the only place to stay within several kilometers. You should be thankful I only charge you $50. When the man was talking, his eyes kept unconsciously moving to look behind him like he was checking out something. Fine, but why must I stay on the second floor? Is the room on first or third floor not available? Why do you have no many damn questions? They're off the limits, that's why. The limping man grabbed the 50 away from Chen Ge and shoved a random key in his hand. The room number is written on the key. Go look for it yourself. Then he rushed back into the room. The moment the door closed, Chen Ge could hear the muffled croak of an old man coming from inside the room, like the sound one would make when one had food stuck in one's throat. Frowning with suspicion, Chen Ge placed his palm on the door, saying, "Wait a minute." What now? The limping man asked with annoyance. Chen Ge glanced through the slight opening of the door. The space within looked small. Other than the limping man that stood at the door, there was an old man reclining in a wheelchair that was facing away from the door. He was probably the source of the noise Chen Ge heard earlier. I'm rather thirsty. Does your establishment provide a vending machine or things like that? No. Man, is this how you treat your customer? The door slammed in his face. leaving Chen Ge in the corridor with a heavier suspicion brewing in his heart. For a normal apartment building, the reception is normally at the front door, but for this building, the reception is not only on the second floor, but at the very end of the second-floor corridor. Looking at the key in his hand, many questions appeared in his mind. Why are the first and third floors off limits? And who is the old man living with the landlord? The number 208 was written on the key, and coincidentally enough, the room was just next to the landlord, S. Regardless, let me go put down my stuff first. After 2 hours of traveling, Chen Ge was indeed more than a bit tired. As he opened the door, the smell of mildew hit him in the nose. The room had probably been vacant for a long time because the place was covered with dust, and the bed was overgrown with some mysterious-looking fungus. It felt strange under Chen Ge's touch. Is this bed even usable? Before Chen Ge even placed his backpack down, he heard a loud crash coming from next door. It sounded like a plate had fallen and shattered. Chen Ge closed the door and stuck his ear to the wall, trying to eavesdrop. Soon enough, the sound of the limping man cursing came. In his anger, he let out several foreign curses, and based on his accent, the man sounded like he was not a local. The old man mumbled weakly in reply. The limping man continued scolding for several minutes before he stopped, but what happened next confused Chen Ge. The volume of the television was increased. What's going on? What is he doing? Why did he increase the television's volume? Chen Ge tried to listen for more clues, but all he could hear was the television. He soon gave up. So be it. In any case, I should be more worried about myself. I doubt I'll be able to get any sleep tonight. Chen Ge placed his backpack on the table and took out the penknife, placing it in his pocket. The online complaint mentioned the existence of blood stains behind the paint and the presence of a horrible smell at night. However, I've searched all the information available on Ping and Apartments online, and there was no mention of any murders that happened here. Then again, there had to be some kind of secret hidden at Ping and Apartments for it to have been selected as the mission venue by the black phone. He pulled out the multi-purpose hammer to knock and inspect every corner of the room. He came up with nothing. This was a very normal guest room. Other than the sorry state it was in, there was nothing out of ordinary about it. Since the landlord only allowed me to pick a room on the second floor, this means that the rooms on the second floor are mostly fine, or else he wouldn't have opened it up for rent. Therefore, to get to the bottom of this, I have to go take a look on the first or third floor. The trial mission was supposed to start at 11 p.m. There were still 3 hours until then. Chen Ge did not want to waste time. He put the hammer away and slunk toward the door. With his hand on the doorknob, he pushed it open. However, he stopped halfway. His palms started to sweat, and a chill ran down his spine. The limping man was standing just outside his door. God only knew how long for. The man also did not expect that Chen Ge would suddenly open the door. Both parties on either side of the door were equally shocked. "Landlord, why are you standing at my door?" Chen Ge narrowed his eyes at the man. The more time he spent with the limping man, the uneasier he felt. "Didn't you say you were thirsty? I came to give you this." The limping man placed the warm water bottle in his hands by Chen Ge's door, and his expression was as unnatural as it could be. "Thank you." Chen Ge did not point out how weird he was acting and pulled the bottle into the room. "Is there anything else?" "No, that's all. Do rest early." The limping man glanced inside the room and added as if to himself, "The corridors are not fitted with lights, so they're very dark at night. You'd better stay in your room after the sun sets." He turned to leave. Chen Ge sighed in relief when the door next to him closed. This landlord is easily angered and socially inept. Even though he has a limp, that doesn't mean that he's physically weak. He managed to shove the man earlier to the ground with just one kick. If anything, he should be quite powerful. Chen Ge wasn't a particularly good sleuth. The only thing he could do was try to fit the situation at the apartments into the plot of all the past murder mysteries he had seen. Born with a disability might have caused him to be bullied from a young age, and that corrupted his innocence. That could easily evolve into a mental sickness. F***CK, it sounds like he's the perfect candidate for a crazed murderer. Chen Ge put the bottle away, and a pressing question came into his mind. If the landlord is the murderer, then doesn't this mean I'm going to have to spend the whole night next to a murderer? This thought made Chen Ge's skin crawl. Who knew the man might spend the whole night standing outside his door, waiting to entrap him? To make matters worse, since he was the landlord, he had access to the space keys, which enable him to enter any room as he wished. Chapter 16. Don't spend your night here. I shouldn't get ahead of myself. The landlord is suspicious, but that doesn't mean he's really the murderer. Chen Ge scratched his head and said to himself, perhaps I should talk to some of the tenants for more details. Since Chen Ge arrived at the apartment, he had seen 4 different individuals. The woman hiding behind the door, Wang Qi, the person who pasted those missing person notices all over the place, the recalcitrant landlord, and the old man in the wheelchair. The old man stays with the landlord, so speaking to him is out of the question. The lady on the first floor weirds me out, so the only remaining candidate is Wang Qi. He should know some things about this apartment. Chen Ge placed the bottle in the room, locked the door behind him, and went downstairs. The voice-activated light came on, giving Chen Ge enough light to see Wang Qi hugging the stack of notices, walking down the corridor. He slipped a notice under each door, regardless of whether they were occupied or not. This naturally attracted Chen Ge's attention. Normally, missing person notices were posted at places with high traffic, but this man personally focused on these apartments, which seemed quite deserted. Chen Ge followed behind Wang Qi quietly. It was not until Wang Qi finished slipping the last notice under the door that he said, "Brother, I can understand your feeling of having a loved one vanish, but you should stay strong and not do this kind of meaningless action to torture yourself." Wang Qi slowly turned around up hearing Chen Ge's voice. His clouded pupils seemed unable to find a point to focus on. "Understand. None of you will ever understand how I feel, nor have I asked for your understanding." Chen Ge did not waste time going down this rabbit hole with him. He grabbed his phone and searched for the police report he made when his parents disappeared several months ago. "I'm not lying to you. My parents suddenly disappeared half a year ago, and at the beginning, I was feeling down in the dumps, too." Looking at the picture saved in the phone, Wang Qi was silent for a long time before he said, "I emphasize with your situation, but our circumstances are different. My fiancée will return. I can feel that she hasn't gone far. Do you mind telling me your story? Considering we're somewhat in the same boat, perhaps I can help you," Chen Ge said. Weirdly enough, he found himself meaning what he said. Wang Qi hesitated. Perhaps recalling that Chen Ge had helped him pick up his notice earlier, his gaze that fell on Chen Ge softened. "Thank you, but you won't be able to help me. You're a nice young man, so listen to my advice. Run away while you still can. Don't try to spend a night here." "I've already paid. You'll have to give me a more convincing reason if you want me to pack up and leave." Chen Ge's purpose there was to complete the trial mission. If he surrendered, he would lose the opportunity to unlock the murder by midnight scenario forever. "Is your life more important or your money?" Wang Qi looked about them, and after making sure there was no peeping eyes, he lowered his voice to say, "Everyone here knows there have been murders in this building before." "I've heard a thing or two about that, but I failed to find any information on it on the internet. I suspect that's merely a rumor," Chen Ge replied. Previously, this building was called Fu and Apartments. It was after the incident that the name changed to Ping and Apartments. The murders were big news at the time, and until now, they haven't been solved. The will of the dead hasn't been appeased, so they appear at their place of death every day at midnight, Wang Qi said. It sounded like he really believed it. You still believe ghost stories like that at an age like ours? Chen Ge smiled awkwardly. Internally, he was incredibly nervous because he knew better than anyone how real the other world was. If possible, he really did not want to have any more encounters with these spirits. Initially, I did not believe it either. That is until the day my fiancé disappeared around this area. Wang Qi pulled on his hair out of frustration, his fatigue plain as day. Why would your fiancé come to a place like this in the first place? Chen Ge was intrigued. The thing that happened to this Wang Qi's fiancé was curiously similar to what happened to his parents. To be honest, I don't really know. In fact, I had not even heard of this apartment before her disappearance. I got the place's name from the police. They told me it was at this place that all clues were lost. Wang Qi's hands relaxed, and several strands of hair hung listlessly between his fingers. I've run out of ideas, and that's why I moved in here. Then, have you discovered anything? Wang Qi's lips fell open, but before he could say anything, he suddenly stopped himself. Instead, he reached into his pocket to pull out his phone to type something on it. My fiancé has been kidnapped by the people who live here. Chen Ge was dumbfounded reading the typed message. He had not expected this development. Brother, a kidnapping and a disappearance are two very different things. Wang Qi shushed Chen Ge, telling him to be quiet. He turned his back toward the corridor and flipped his phone over to show Chen Ge. Chen Ge saw the messages in the phone inbox, and his eyes slowly widened with shock. There was a message from Wang Qi's fiancé in his phone. The content was simple. It only had 2 words, "Save me." However, the most spine-chilling discovery was the message was sent at 2 a.m. last night. Someone who should have disappeared sent you a SOS message in the middle of the night. After the initial shock, Chen Ge quickly calmed down. Then, why didn't you go to the police with this message? Obviously, your fiancé is still alive. You might not believe me when I tell you this, but I receive this message from my fiancé every night after midnight. The content is always the same, but the key point is every time after I wake up, the message will have miraculously disappeared like it never really happened. Wang Qi pointed at his bloodshot eyes. To preserve this message, I haven't closed my eyes for 24 hours already. The message will disappear once you fall asleep. This was the first time Chen Ge had heard something as curious as that. I know you think I'm crazy, but everything I've said is the truth. Wang Qi leaned against the wall for support as he pocketed his phone. More inexplicable things have happened to me. For example, my fiancé's stuff curiously appears in my room without warning. It's like she's reminding me to go look for her. When Wang Qi said the last sentence, Chen Ge's eyelids twitched. Based on his experience from the past few days, Wang Qi's fiancée had not disappeared but befallen an accident and transformed into a ghost. She was haunting Wang Qi. That was the only logical explanation, provided the man had not been lying to him. My fiancé disappeared around this apartment building, and my life has been changed by this apartment building. Listen to me, this place is cursed. It's the home of many evil ghosts and specters. Misfortune befalls those who get too close, so leave when you still can. It seemed that Wang Qi had not uttered so many words at one go in a very long time, for his face was stark white as if the conversation had taken a great toll out on him. Chapter 17, Fu and Apartments. From a stranger's perspective, Wang Qi might have appeared to be too insistent in chasing the newcomer away. Therefore, Chen Ge did not promise the man anything. If anything, after listening to Wang Qi's story, he had a sneaking suspicion that the man was hiding something. I've told you everything I know, and there's still time to leave. When the clock strikes 12, the apartment will turn into something else. After saying that, Wang Qi brushed the dust away from his clothes and turned to leave. It was not until Wang Qi's shadow disappeared among the darkness of the night that Chen Ge came to. His original intention was to obtain more information from the tenants about the building, but now he ended up with more question than answers. That man sure is a curious character, but I can't tell whether he's crazy or not. Recalling Wang Qi's pair of cloudy eyes that had not focused once throughout their conversation, Chen Ge felt uncomfortable. The pain and tiredness in the man's eyes could not be faked, but it does seem like he loves his fiancée dearly. As Chen Ge went back to his room, he paused when he passed the woman's room on the first floor. He hesitated before knocking on the room. "Hey, fresh blood!" The woman's room door remained unmoved, but to Chen Ge's surprise, the door to the room directly opposite from hers fell open. A lanky man was leaning against the open door. He looked to be in his 30s, and the man's appearance was very unkempt. His beard was almost joined to his hair, and the back of his hand had a tattoo of a peony. "And you are?" Chen Ge turned around with alarm. "The man who was spreading the missing person notice around is not even a tenant of this building. There's something wrong about him up here." The thin man pointed at his temple. "Don't believe a word out that comes out of his mouth, and try not to get too close to him." It was the first time Chen Ge had seen this man, and even though the man's appearance left much to be desired, the man's mannerisms were the most normal of all the characters he had met at the apartment. The man's actions sure are weird, but perhaps that is because he was too devastated from the loss of his fiancée. "Did he tell you his fiancée disappeared around this apartment?" "Yes." "Did he tell you he received that information from the police, and that's why he has been searching for her here?" "Yes." The man chuckled mirthlessly before saying, "I've lived here for 9 months already, and I've seen no trace of the police coming here. The madman is lying to you. I'm sure you don't believe his talk of ghosts, right?" He pulled out a cigarette to dangle on his lips. "There are no ghosts in this world. At most, it's someone pretending to be a ghost. In any case, it's getting late, so you'd better return to your room." Chen Ge thanked the man and turned to leave. As he wandered up the steps, he thought to himself, obviously, one of them is lying, but which is it? Lost in his thoughts, Chen Ge did not realize he had walked up to the 3rd floor. The faded number was printed on the corner of the wall, and the voice-activated light above his head flickered on and off. Chen Ge looked down the long corridor and realized this whole floor was in a state of complete disrepair. The floor was thick with grime, and there were signs of burning everywhere. The coating of the wall was peeling off like skin, and underneath it were lines that looked like thick cuts. Why have they left the 3rd floor unfixed? Not enough budget, or is there a more sinister reason? The voice-activated light soon went off, and Chen Ge was submerged in a world of darkness. Due to his work at the haunted house, Chen Ge was used to working in the darkness. The sudden blindness did not unhinge him. He pulled out his phone and was about to turn the flashlight on when he spotted a shadow dash past the darkened corridor. "Who's there?" The flashlight on the phone lit up the 3rd floor, but the shadow was nowhere to be seen. Chen Ge was about to investigate further when he heard footsteps coming up from further down the stairs. It's the landlord. If he was spotted by the easily irked landlord loitering on 3rd floor, he might get chased off the premises. Chen Ge thought about it, pocketed his phone, and stealthily retreated down to the 2nd floor. When he turned the corner on the stairwell, Chen Ge saw a rotund and short man coming out of a room on the 2nd floor, holding a basin. The man was humming a happy tune, but when he saw Chen Ge, his face fell, and he immediately ran away from the scene. What is the meaning of that? Do I look that scary? After returning to his room, Chen Ge lay in bed, hugging his backpack. It feels like there's no normal individual in this apartment. Every single one of them could be the party responsible for the murders. When those words rolled off his tongue, Chen Ge suddenly sat up in bed. Wait a minute, the mission told me to find the party responsible for the murders, but the term party can be both singular and plural. In that case, could there be more than one murderer after all? If there is more than one murder, the chances of multiple murderers will drastically increase. I need to get more information on that case from years ago. Chen Ge pulled out his phone. His conversation with Wang Qi was not for nothing. He now had the important information that before it was called Ping and Apartments, this place was called Fu and Apartments. He keyed in Jiujiang Fu and Apartments in the search box, and several pages later, numerous spine-chilling headlines jumped out at him. A family of 4 brutally murdered. The murderer has disappeared into thin air. Accident or homicide. The truth of the fire that razed Fu and Apartments. Case within a case. Bodies hidden inside the building unearthed. Reading through the information on Fu and Apartments, Chen Ge felt his skin chilled. This was not fiction. They happened in real life, and he was currently living at the crime scene. 5 years ago, a neighbor saw the smog rising from Fu and Apartments, so he called the fire brigade. The firefighters soon put out the fire and started to investigate the source of the fire as well as gauge the extent of damage. Initially, they thought this was going to be another accidental fire case, but as the investigation continued, more curious evidence started to surface. The cement walls were cracked, the surface of cracked window was small, and the smog blackened the ceiling. These were all signs that the temperature of the fire was high, and it spread very fast. There were several possible initial locations found at the building, and they were all far apart from each other, quintessential of an arson case. Therefore, the nature of the investigation changed. After the police stepped in, they soon discovered 4 burnt bodies among the ruin of the fire. They believed these were the bodies of the family of 4 who operated the rental apartment. This case created quite a buzz at the time. The police tried their best to solve the case, but the fire had destroyed most of the evidence. They combed the place, but could not locate the evidence of a 5th person, much less catch the culprit. The apartment was sealed for a whole year, after which ownership of the estate was passed on to the owner's father. And it was then that Fu and Apartments changed to Ping and Apartments. The family of 4 was burned to the death, and the culprit still hasn't been caught. No wonder people say this place is haunted. After knowing more about the case, Chen Ge felt slightly more grounded because at least he knew what he was dealing with. A curious detail on the reports stuck out at him. The articles all confirm that at the time of passing, the owner was already 41 years old. The apartment was later passed on to his father, and theoretically and logically speaking, the real current owner of this place should be in his 60s or 70s already. Chapter 18, Livestream. There was only one person who fit the criteria, the old man sharing the room with the landlord. This is weird. According to the news articles, the owner should be an old man, but the landlord who received me is at most middle-aged. Chen Ge stood up to press his ear to the wall. The television on the other side of the wall was still blaring. Currently, it was playing some random commercial. Normally, wouldn't the viewer switch the channel during commercials? But they've been watching the commercials for several minutes already. Chen Ge tried to lean closer into the wall. Perhaps I've missed something. He cleared his mind and tried to rearrange all the clues he had so far. After I entered the room, I heard the sound of a plate shattering next door. Then, the landlord started to curse and scold the old man. It continued until the volume of the television was raised. Since the old man was incapacitated, it had to be the landlord who increased the television volume. But the question is, why? Chen Ge narrowed his eyes as a speculation appeared in his mind. Is the landlord ill-treating the old man? The television noise is to cover up the sound of assault. The more he thought about it, the more possible it sounded in his mind. The shattering plate occurred the moment I moved in. Isn't that too much of a coincidence? Could that have been an SOS signal from the old man? After all, it was merely a broken plate. There's no reason for the landlord to get so angered. Perhaps he was afraid that the sound might have attracted my unwanted attention. But why should he be afraid? And why would the old man call for help? Suddenly, another detail that seemed unimportant to Chen Ge earlier entered in his mind. When the landlord was scolding the old man, he let slip several foreign curses. The family that passed away were all locals, but this landlord is not from Jiujiang. He shouldn't be blood-related to the old man or his family. Normally speaking, the man wouldn't leave his assets to be taken care of by a stranger, unless the limping man has taken over this place and is holding the old man captive. If that's really the case, either he's a caretaker who got too greedy or he's the actual murderer. Either way, it did not bode well for Chen Ge. Chen Ge's fists tightened. That also explains why he was eavesdropping at my door earlier. He wanted to find out how much I've learned. Chen Ge's forehead was sweaty from all the thinking. After all, he wasn't a real detective. All he had were references to plots that he had seen on television before. What should I do now? Rush directly into the room next door to whack the landlord until he faints? No, that's too rash. If my speculation is wrong, that'll land me in hot water. With the mallet in his hand and the penknife stuck in his pocket, Chen Ge paced around the room. Give the landlord a test to confirm his identity. No, that's too risky. What if I tip my hand too soon? After all, he might have other accomplices, and I'm here all alone. If I'm targeted, my life will be in danger. Furthermore, I don't really have any real proof. Everything is just speculation. Also, I'm pretty sure the main purpose I'm here is to find the murderer from 4 years ago, so maybe I should focus on that instead. Chen Ge was caught in a conundrum. Suddenly, the television next door was switched off, and the place became eerily quiet. What's going on? He opened the door slightly and lowered himself to the ground. He peeked out at the door next to him. There was no light coming out from underneath the door. Sleeping at 8 p.m., Chen Ge crawled to the landlord's room door holding the mallet. In an out-of-body moment, he realized how suspicious he must have looked then. He turned around to make sure no one was watching him before pocketing the mallet and crawling back to his room. Then again, my speculation might not be 100% accurate, if only I had a professional to help me with the analysis. Chen Ge lay in bed and pulled out his phone. In his contact list, other than Su Wan, he had not spoken to many of the others before. Jesus Christ, I sure am loyal. Chen Ge thought about it. Among the people that he knew, the only person who was slightly related to investigation was the young man who had fainted inside his haunted house. He san. In any case, a medical student should be better at logic and analysis than I am. He entered the video-sharing app and realized he had about 20 private messages. He clicked open a random one and saw it was a personal message from a studio that was based on the website. The person expressed interest in having him join the team. Is this person some kind of talent scout? Chen Ge did not have time to deal with that right then. He scrolled through the many messages to look for Hisan, SID, and tossed the invitation out of his mind. However, several minutes later, the studio sent him another message. You there? We've seen your video. It has plenty of potential. We were wondering if you would like to cooperate with us. We can contact the top streamers of our platform on your behalf to help increase your popularity and exposure. Doing this alone is going to be very difficult. After all, most streamers on the net rely on teams and networking. This is a very good offer, so do consider it. You there? The endless pop-ups annoyed Chen Ge. He was busy trying to survive a night in the apartment that housed a murderer who had killed 4 individuals in cold blood 4 years ago. And these people were busy trying to sell him their service. He finally replied, AFK. Young man, you sure are funny. Give our studio serious consideration. You don't need to do anything beyond adding our studio's logo to your videos. In return, we will provide you with better exposure to help you gain viewership. I'm sorry, but I'm currently not interested in something like that. Chen Ge felt his reply was polite already. If this was someone else, they probably would have cursed the person out before blacklisting the studio. Your short video has the possibility to go viral, but you have to understand that it is just a possibility. A platform like this has an average of 1 million uploads each day, and you're just one of the more lucky ones. Nowadays, people are in for fast food entertainment. They don't have the patience to wait. Every moment, there are fresh and more exciting things to pull their attention away. If you don't carefully manage your business, your video will soon be submerged by a sea of fresh attractions. Talk about it later. I'm currently busy with something important. Chen Ge finally found He-san's ID. What is more important than earning money? If you are still hesitating, perhaps we can have some other form of cooperation. For example, we're more than willing to offer good money to buy your content and video shooting technique. Chen Ge was irked, so he blacklisted the individual and messaged He-san. To his surprise, He-san replied within a few seconds. Boss, I've been waiting for you to release a new video. Wait a minute, I have a more important question to ask you. After getting He-san's phone number, he called the young man and explained the whole situation to him in a whispered tone. Chapter 19, Rising Popularity. Afraid that the landlord next door might overhear him, Chen Ge lowered his voice to a whisper, which created an unintended tense atmosphere. After he was done, on the other end of the phone, He-san was stunned. This honest young man who just came to the city from the countryside to attend medical school did not expect his first conversation with an online friend to be so freaking exciting. You're currently at that cursed apartment. Yes. And the landlord next door might be the killer from several years ago. Yes. Wait a minute, this is too much for me to process at once. Let me think about it first. This created an interesting contrast between the situations on both sides of the phone. One was wrapped in his warm blanket, chewing on KFC, watching some online videos, while the other was caught in a haunted apartment, heavy with gloom and anguish. Boss, I still think you should report this to the police. Granted, you don't have any actual proof, but compared to the offense of making a fake report, your life is more important. He-san was merely looking out for him, but Chen Ge had his own consideration. This murder by midnight was a mission given to him by the Black Phone. He had to stay there overnight for the mission to be a success. Interference from the police would most likely ruin his mission. Since it involved the unlocking of a new scenario, surrendering just like that felt like a great waste. It's still not yet time to involve the police. Mainly, it's your safety that you should be concerned about. Boss, how about this? He-san paused before adding, turn on your phone's GPS triangulation and try to keep your phone on throughout the night. I'll pay attention to the sounds from your side, and if there's anything weird, I'll call the police immediately. That was not a bad idea. Chen Ge looked at his phone. He still had not exited the video sharing app, and there was an advertisement for a mukbang stream going on. Suddenly, an idea came into Chen Ge's mind. Why don't I open a live stream at the haunted apartment? If anything dangerous happens to me, the viewers will be able to help me alert the police, and the recording of the live stream will be the best evidence. Of course, I hope for everything to go well, and with this method, I'll be able to attract more viewers to my page and thus advertise my haunted house. The short video from last night had brought Chen Ge about 1,000 new followers, and consequently the number of visitors at his haunted house the next day had doubled. This was a workable method. Furthermore, the ultimate goal of him entering the haunted apartment was to earn the mission reward to improve his haunted house. If starting a live stream was able to ensure his safety while he was conducting his mission, as well as increase his popularity and viewership, then why not? Even though I don't have the budget to advertise my stuff all over the place, I can rely on live streams and short videos to attract people's attention. What Chen Ge was lacking in were platform, channels, and experience. In terms of content, he was not at all worried. Even though the personnel from the studio earlier was annoying, they were right. Modern entertainment was about instant gratification. What could be more exciting and intense than an overnight stay at a haunted apartment and a possible tussle with a crazed murderer? Viewership followed content, and compared to other streamers, Chen Ge had a unique leg up. All of his content and the stuff that he experienced was all real. There was no plot or script, and even he had no idea what might happen next. In a way, the live stream was merely a recording of him completing the mission dispensed by the black phone. "He-san, I'm ending the call. Come directly to my live stream. The stream's ID will be similar to the ID on my personal page." After hanging up, Chen Ge turned on his phone's triangulation system and set 991 as his quick dial. After everything was done, he selected the live stream option on the video sharing app. Videos nowadays were normally only several 10 seconds long, meaning they were hard to monetize. Therefore, to improve fan loyalty and more directly monetize follower numbers, most streams would live stream when they were not preparing to release a new video. Since short videos were easily shared, they could be used to attract the attention of random viewers. Then, with live streams, those viewers could be turned into followers if the streamer's content was interesting enough. Incidentally, Chen Ge had stumbled across the most correct way of establishing one's online brand. Overnight at a haunted house, your host, an intrepid explorer, exposing the parts of the world that are normally hidden from sight. Chen Ge used several exclamation marks in his title to separate his live stream from others. To be honest, though, he need not have done that. The live stream function attached to the video sharing app was ultimately different from a streaming website. The categorization was limited and mostly involved talking to scantily dressed girls. Chen Ge's live stream was like a pile of cow dung amid a bed of roses. It was incredibly hard for him to not get noticed. After opening the live stream, his fans that followed him would be notified. And similarly, there would be an announcement at his profile page. In less than few seconds, the first batch of viewers arrived. He-san was the first to message. "Boss, you're serious? You're really going to live stream this?" Death to All Men posted, "You're the creep who uploaded that video yesterday night. Good, because I'm here to claim your life." F***CK, "Sis, what happened to you? Calm down, maybe we can talk this out." Creep host subbed, posted, "I'm a little green worm." Any subs know what the content of this stream is. Do you not know how to read? The title is right there. The moment Chen Ge began the live stream, those who were waiting for his video showed themselves, and the viewership of his room slowly climbed. "Guys, I think there's a misunderstanding." Chen Ge put his mallet away and turned to the camera seriously. "The video from last night wasn't a joke. I experienced it myself. You can go look for the full video on supernatural forums if you do not believe me. The footage has not been tempered. The thing in the mirror is real. I know that is hard to believe, but if you follow me, I'll unveil the hidden side of this world to you little by little." "Hello, one. I'm sorry, but what is the number for mental hospital? I believe I've found a runaway patient." "I do love the way you bullsh *T. Li Ming, I know you're watching live stream, go buy some supper for me. Fried noodles, no chili, thanks." Fu San Mental Hospital Room 31, subbing to the host. "In support of our friend finding a new job." Several notices appeared on screen, and all of them showed disbelief at Chen Ge's promise. The man wasn't fazed. "I don't mind if you think I'm crazy because you'll soon see how wrong you all are." The viewership continued to climb. Chen Ge turned to look at the night sky that was darkening. He lit a cigarette and started explaining the bloody history of Fu and apartments to his viewers. Chapter 20, Crime Scene. A mysterious fire, a disappeared killer. Chen Ge realized he had a talent for storytelling. He managed to summarize the many news articles he had read and combined them with his own hypotheses, creating a believable and intriguing tale for his viewers. That is what has happened. To search for inspiration for my haunted house, I decided to stay overnight at this cursed apartment, but I came across a startling discovery. Every single tenant of this apartment has something off about them, and I suspect that the murderer from years ago is masquerading as one of them. Chen Ge snuffed his cigarette off and turned to address the camera. Interesting, so a real-life murder mystery. Anyone have a brilliant idea as to who the real killer is? I'm a little green worm mocked. "Host, you sure know how to bullsh *T, but we're not that gullible." Jiujiang City's Fu and apartments. I just looked it up on the internet. The host doesn't seem like he's lying. He-san showed some support. I believe the host. However, I'm a little green worm was not easily convinced. Even if the host isn't lying about the case, how do we know that he is currently at the cursed apartment? As he said earlier, the place was burned down. But take a good look at the room he's room. The wall is clean and painted, and all the furniture looks usable, albeit a little bit old. Does this look like a cursed apartment to any of you? I won't lie to you guys about that. You want proof? Easy. Chen Ge moved the makeup counter away and pulled his penknife. He scratched away a small corner of the paint on the wall. The name of a building can be changed, and the place can be refurnished and repainted, but certain things cannot be removed or hidden. He removed the freshest layer of wall paint to reveal the brickwork underneath, which was charred black. This is evidence that this place was the crime scene of the fire. No, I'm interested in why you would bring a mallet and a knife to stay at a hostel. For self-defense. Death to all man raised an obvious concern. Host is ruining the wall for no reason. 1 minute of silence for the poor landlord. How much did you pay for a room like this? It doesn't even have a television. Looking at the chat log, Chen Ge could not help but sigh. Guys, can you not focus on the irrelevant points? How about some respect? I'm putting my life on the line to do this live stream for you. Death to all man donated $1. $1 donation as sign of respect. Chen Ge was helpless dealing with the online trolls, but at least they didn't leave him. Fine, let's get back to business. I've met 6 different individuals since I arrived at this apartment. The first person I met was a woman who might have a little mental problem. When I arrived, she smiled wickedly at me unprompted. This unhinged me slightly, but since I have had no further interaction with this woman, there's nothing else I can say. Chen Ge introduced all of the tenants to his viewers, and when he was done, he added his own analysis. In terms of motive, the landlord is definitely the most suspicious, but his movement speed is hindered due to his limp. So, viewed from this perspective, the tattoo guy on first floor and the fat man on second floor have the greatest possibility of being the killer. Of course, one can't ignore the woman and the seemingly weak Wang Qi. Basically, you've come up with nothing. Death to all man surmised. Based on your analysis, I've further suspicion that the real killer is the old man in the wheelchair. After all, he stood to gain the most from the fire. That might not be that implausible. After all, the old man might be incapacitated now, but that doesn't mean that he was the same 4 years ago. Furthermore, the crime we're talking about is a fire. That doesn't require physical prowess, so the old man is a valid suspect. Also, have you considered the possibility of the old man faking his disability? Oftentimes, The most unlikely one is the killer. Actually, I have more suspicion toward the woman on the first floor. She smiled at the host, meaning she wanted to communicate something to the host. Host, can you still remember the curve of the woman's lips and the degree to which her mouth was open when she smiled at you? I'll help you analyze it from the perspective of psychology. I can't. As the interest of the viewers rose, so did the popularity of his live stream. Chen Ge looked at the busy chat log and sighed internally. He thought to himself, these people are hopeless. Looks like I'll have to go out to look for more clues before I can come to any conclusion. He placed his phone before him, adding, I did try to look around the building before starting the live stream. I discovered while most of the apartment's first and second floor has been fixed up, parts of the third floor have been left as they were 4 years ago. In a little bit, I will go up to conduct a closer examination. Hopefully, we'll be able to come up with some useful clues. The place is kept like it was 4 years ago. That's kinda sick. The ghosts of the families have been lingering because the case hasn't been solved. Investigating a haunted apartment at night, the host sure is insane. Of course, the host is the operator of a haunted house after all. Let me tell you, last time a bunch of us visited his haunted house to demand reparation for his scary video, but we got our backsides handed to us instead. 2 of the bravest among our group went in. One came out crying inconsolably, and the other fainted on the spot. Wait, what happened to them? And what about those who are not as brave? Have you lost your mind? Do you think the rest of us entered his haunted house after we saw what happened? That, you're right. LOL, commented He-san. The chat had completely derailed, but Chen Ge didn't mind it that much. He pocketed his penknife, and with one hand holding the phone, the other holding the mallet, he walked to his room door. Learning from his previous lesson, Chen Ge squatted down to look at the shadows underneath the door and confirmed that there was no one standing on the other side, before lightly pushing the door open. After he closed and locked the door, Chen Ge yanked one of his hairs out to stick it into the keyhole. This way, if someone entered his room when he was not there, he would know because the hair would have been pushed further into the keyhole. After everything was prepared, Chen Ge walked to the stairwell. His steps were light to not activate the light on his phone guiding his every step. As he climbed up the stairs, the walls on each side became noticeably darker in color, and there was an indescribable smell in the air. When he reached the 3rd floor, Chen Ge turned on the flashlight function on his phone. He leaned against the wall and focused. When he first accidentally walked up to the 3rd floor, he had noticed a dark shadow flash before him. The shape of the shadow had looked like a human. Be it a ghost or a man, I have to be careful. The flashlight revealed to Chen Ge the crime scene from 4 years ago. Looking at the scratch marks that seemed to embed themselves into the wall, Chen Ge's grip around the mallet tightened. Ping An Apartments had a unique architectural style. It only had one staircase, and it was on the right side of the building, giving the impression that the corridor leading to the left side was suspiciously long. As he walked down the corridor, he felt a chilliness tingle his spine. Even with his back to the wall, Chen Ge felt weirdly exposed. If the starting point of the fire was the 3rd floor, then all this wouldn't have been preserved, so the killer probably didn't come up to the 3rd floor at the time. Chen Ge continued down the darkened corridor. The doors on his either side had been warped by fire, exposing singed and ruined rooms. Navigating the trash that littered the floor, Chen Ge scurried into the closest room that he could get into. Chapter 21, Party of More Than One. The small room had a leak in the ceiling, and the windows were barred, causing damp to seep into the walls and a festering smell from the heavy moldy to fill the room. It was uncomfortable. Chen Ge walked into the room to take a closer look at the wooden planks that barred the windows. They looked surprisingly unworn, suggesting they were a recent addition. This is just a common guest room. The ruined furniture had been removed, and the room was barren. There was basically nothing in sight. Then again, years have passed. Even if there was evidence, it wouldn't have been preserved for so long. Chen Ge exited the room and continued down the darkened corridor. Most of the rooms were empty. The corridor was choked full of trash and abandoned paraphernalia, making it difficult for him to navigate. A person's trash can often reflect their lifestyle and attitude. Perhaps this litter will provide the clues that I need. After setting a new goal, Chen Ge trudged through the rubbish in spite of the disgusting smell. About 1 hour later, he did come up with some interesting findings. Why are there toy dolls? There are no children among the people I have seen, so who do these belong to? Chen Ge spent another hour sifting through the trash, and he ended up with 4 ragdolls. Submerged underneath the sea of trash, the 4 ragdolls would not have captured Chen Ge's attention if not for the fact he was a toy design major. The 4 dolls had probably been left there for quite some time already, because they were covered with dirty stains, and mold had infested certain parts. The toys were so fragile that if Chen Ge was not careful, he could easily pull out clumps of dirty wool. Chen Ge studied them closely and realized even though the dolls were all of different types, they came from the same manufacturer. Could it be that the toys were left behind by the ex-tenants of Ping Apartments? However, Chen Ge very soon vetoed this possibility. The low possibility of a family with children moving into a rundown apartment like this aside, even if there was one, it was unlikely for one family to own 4 dolls at the same time. After all, they came from the same manufacturer. Furthermore, based on the design and stylings, these were manufactured several years ago. The toy market updated constantly. Before he took over the haunted house, Chen Ge had worked at a toy company, so he did know a thing or two about the toy market. If these weren't left behind by the new tenants, then it's possible they belonged to the original tenants of Fu and Apartments, Chen Ge speculated. The original owner of the apartment had 2 daughters, so if I'm not mistaken, these should belong to them. However, if that was true, another question needed answering. This place was almost completely ruined by the fire, so how did these 4 dolls survive? Is it a coincidence, or did someone purposely keep them at a place that would be safe from the fire? Chen Ge felt like he was on the right track. The only person who could that is the killer themselves. But why would the killer risk their life to protect these 4 dolls? Are these items of importance to them? The zipper on the back of the doll was all rusted, so Chen Ge tore open the fabric directly. Among the cotton, he discovered a card. It fit perfectly inside his palm. It was a love letter. The action was so cheesy that Chen Ge cringed on the person's behalf. Sticking love letter inside a doll? Goodness, that sure is cheesy. If this was the murderer, then he was definitely a shy and reserved man. He did not have the courage to confess in person, so he gifted the girl the doll, hoping that she would discover the secret that was hidden within. Compelled by curiosity, Chen Ge tore open another 2 dolls. Each of them contained a card, and the content was almost similar to the first one. However, when he tore open the last doll, a chill ran down his spine. Instead of a love ladder, the cotton was filled with shredded pieces of paper, and if placed together, they all read, "Go to hell." Confession of love for some reason turned into curses. What happened in between, Chen Ge had no way of telling. These should all have been left behind by the killer, so they are crucial evidence. He picked out several paper pieces and shoved them in his pocket. As he was about to walk deeper into the house, the voice-activated light at the staircase suddenly came on. **T, someone's coming. Desperate to escape, Chen Ge turned off the flashlight on his phone, grabbed the dolls, and ran into the guest room that was closest to him. Holding his breath, Chen Ge hid behind the door and looked out at what was happening through the crack between the door and its frame. The sound of footsteps became clearer, and the conversation between a male and a female floated up the stairs. "We have to move that thing out soon. We can't delay anymore. The new tenant has been up to the 3rd floor already. Thankfully, he turned back at the staircase, or else he would have spotted me. I know, there have been more and more new people coming here recently. We have to deal with that thing as soon as we can." "Agreed. Inform everyone and tell them to be prepared. We'll dig it out tonight and bury it up the hills." The person was carrying an old-fashioned oil lamp, and with the light's help, Chen Ge managed to see that the two people talking were the landlord and the woman from the 1st floor. Why would they come up to the 3rd floor in the middle of the night? Chen Ge pushed himself against the wall to ensure they would not see him. Not long after that, the tattoo guy and the fat man whom he had seen earlier all came up the stairs. They were all wrapped up in black clothes and carried equipment like wires, a gunny sack, and cleavers. What are they up to? The small group stood in the corridor, and it felt like they were in the middle of an argument. The fat man, who was walking at the back, had his head drooped while he groused. "Do we really have to do this? If we dig it out, our fingerprints will easily get left behind. Things will be incredibly hard to explain then." "And you think it's easy to explain now?" The landlord glared at the fat man. "Stop complaining and start moving." "I think we should call the cops." The fat man stood where he was. The tattoo guy walked over to grip the man's collar, hissing into his face. "Have you lost your mind? Do you want to die so badly? If we involve the police, we'll be their prime suspects. During the investigation, your hit and run and our illegal occupation of the old man's property will all be exposed." "Honey, calm down." The woman walked over to place her hand on the tattoo guy's arm. "We're all in the same boat, so instead of turning on each other, we'd better get moving. None of us have a clean record, and it was not easy for us to finally find ourselves a comfortable lair. If any of you dare get any other ideas, you'd better watch out." The landlord tossed the iron hammer in his hands to the fat man. "You go and take the first crack." "Me." Sweat covered the fat man's forehead immediately. His face blanched as he dragged the mallet across the floor. As he continued to observe, the more Chen Ge felt something was wrong. What are they planning to dig up? The fat man walked to the deepest part of the staircase. He moved the trash to the side, and under the other tenants' careful scrutiny, parted the curtain that was originally hidden behind the mountain of trash. It was a fortified cement wall, and embedded inside the wall was a female body that was facing away from the group. Chapter 22, Murder by Midnight. Chen Ge clamped his mouth to prevent himself from making a noise. When he saw the body, he immediately messaged He-san. "Call the police now." There was no light in the staircase, and a door stood between them and Chen Ge, so the viewers had no idea what was happening. Then again, Chen Ge had no time for them at a moment like that. He leaned closer to the crack, with nary the courage to even blink. The body is hidden inside the wall, and that's what they're trying to dig up, Chen Ge thought to himself. He did not dare make any sudden movement. He was in a very vulnerable position. The few tenants were only several steps away from him. They would have spotted him if they turned around to walk into the room he was hiding in. "Are you playing with sand at the beach? Put some muscle into it," the landlord cursed as he walked over to the body. He laid the gunny sack open on the ground and squatted down to clear away the cement around the body. Probably afraid that they might wake up the other tenants, their movements were light and didn't make any sound. The wall was pried open, and the cement dust fell all over the place. Everyone was sweating profusely, but it was unclear whether it was a nervous sweat or sweat from the manual labor. They shared the work, but since this was the first time they had done something like this, everyone was still feeling a bit weirded out, which slowed down their progress considerably. 10 minutes later, they finally managed to extricate the body from the wall and placed it inside the gunny sack. "Fatty, you stay back to clean up the mess. The rest of us will take her up the hill to bury her." The landlord passed the hammer over as he gave the orders. "I'm coming with you," the rotund man said immediately. This whole exercise had drained him both physically and mentally. He didn't have the guts to be left all alone in the dark. "Would you man up a little?" the landlord turned to say to the only woman of the group. "Then, you stay back to accompany him. We'll meet up at the same place later up on the hill." Then he went down the stairs, carrying the gunny sack with the tattooed man. His footsteps were alternatively heavy and light on account of his limp. When he passed the room Chen Ge was hiding in, he suddenly stopped. "Why is there so much cotton on the floor?" Chen Ge's heart was at his throat when he heard that question from the landlord. When he tore the dolls open, some shredded cotton and paper pieces had inadvertently fallen on the floor. At the time, it had been too dark for him to notice them, and now it was too late for him to retrieve it. "It's probably just rubbish. We'll deal with it later. This thing is heavy. Let's deal with the more important matter first," the tattooed guy who was behind him urged. The landlord nodded, and the two continued on down the corridor and the stairs. "Fatty, don't just stand there, start working." The woman and the fat man worked together to pick up all the trash and wiped away the blood stains that were left on the tools. Several minutes later, they also went down the stairs hauling a hug sack. Their footsteps gradually disappeared. It was not until the third floor became totally quiet that Chen Ge dared to breathe. He was cautious as he leaned to look through the crack. The corridor was dark and empty. Everyone had left. F***CK. That scared the crap out of me. He waited for another 3 minutes. When he was sure they were not coming back, Chen Ge inched out from behind the door and walked out on tiptoes. To prevent discovery, he did not use the phone. He placed his hand on the wall and slowly found his way forward. Based on their conversation, yes, those people aren't totally innocent, but the female body in the wall doesn't seem like it has anything to do with them. If anything, they were a certain kind of unlucky. After seizing the old man's property, they were left with a body in the wall to be dealt with. The first reaction for any normal individual under such circumstances would have been to call the police, but since they each had a crime they were hiding from, they could not do that. In the end, they had no choice but to help the real murderer keep this a secret, and now they even had to help the murderer bury the evidence. No wonder the landlord reminded me multiple times to not wander around the building after dark. After Chen Ge's eyes got used to the darkness, his speed increased. He could not wait to get out of the building. Chen Ge decided to give up on his backpack and directly went down to the first floor. F***CK. The front door was locked, meaning he was trapped inside the building. These people still remembered to lock the door even when they were going out to bury a body. A twinge of fear curled up within Chen Ge's heart. The windows on the first floor are all fixed with anti-theft netting, and the ones on the third floor are all barred with wooden planks, so my only route of escape is through the windows on the second floor. The longer he stayed inside the apartment, the more anxious he felt. Chen Ge clutched the mallet in his hand as he returned to the second floor. The corridor looked ominous in the dark, like the gaping maw of a monster. This is too quiet. Chen Ge's room was next to the landlord's, which was at the deepest end of the corridor. He was tense, afraid that any of the room door would suddenly open. Holding his breath, Chen Ge slid silently down the corridor to his room. Thankfully, there were no surprises. If I tie the bedspread together, it should be long enough for me to jump out the window and reach the first floor. Chen Ge found his key and used his phone's torch to locate the keyhole. As he was about to stick the key in, his hand froze. Where is the hair that I stuck in the keyhole? His hair stood on end, and fear swamped Chen Ge on all sides. His limbs were frozen solid. Someone has gone inside my room. They know I'm not in my room. Chen Ge's breathing turned rapid. He felt like there was a piece of ice stuck in his lung. When did they get in? After digging up the body? Or when they saw the cotton on the floor? In reality, the answer was not that important. Chen Ge took several steps back, and he gradually calmed down, staring at the closed door of his room. I can't go into the room. They're probably waiting inside to ambush me. Chen Ge got used to the situation fast enough thanks to his powerful heart. He had to get out of that place as fast as he could, or else he would be in mortal danger. Chen Ge did not make any noise as he took further steps back. He knew clearly, other than the windows on the second floor, there was no other exit out of the apartment. Making as little noise as he could, Chen Ge retreated to the rightmost corner of the corridor. This was the farthest from his room. These tenants are far more dangerous than I expected. Whether I'll be able to survive tonight or not all depends on this gamble. Chen Ge gritted his teeth and raised his mallet to knock heavily on the door lock of the most right-hand side room. The curious silence of Ping and Apartments was shattered. Chen Ge slammed on the lock like he was crazy. Following the loud bangs, the individuals that he had no interest of seeing at all appeared. The door to room 208, the room that Chen Ge had rented, was shoved open. The tattooed guy and the landlord rushed out of it brandishing an iron hammer and a cleaver. They dashed at Chen Ge with scary expressions. "Please open." The lock finally snapped under pressure, and without hesitation, Chen Ge kicked the room door open. Chapter 23, Real Killer. The door slammed heavily on the wall as Chen Ge dashed into the room and yanked the window open. F***CK, it's so high. Standing at the window, the drop was at least 3 to 4 meters. Hasty footsteps echoed louder and louder, meaning the landlord and the tattooed guy were closing in on him. Chen Ge did not have the luxury of time. He jumped out of the window, grabbing the sill by the ledge as one of his legs found purchase on the first-floor window's anti-theft steel netting. He must have seen us move the body. We mustn't let him get away. The landlord's ugly mug appeared at the door. Flashing the cleaver in the air, he hissed, "You think you can escape?" Chen Ge did not dare hesitate and let go instantly. His arms were scratched, and his clothes was torn by the netting as he slid down the wall. Chen Ge rolled as he landed to reduce the impact. As he straightened himself, he grabbed the mallet off the floor and ran toward the gate. "Quick, grab him!" the landlord roared as he lobbed the cleaver at Chen Ge. Chen Ge felt something fly past him. Looking at the cleaver that was stuck deep into the grass, he shivered in fear. If I fall into the hands of these people, they'll definitely kill me. The apartment's front door swung open then, and the fat man and the woman, who had been waiting on the first floor, gave chase after him, each holding hedge clippers in their hands. "Bunch of crazies." Chen Ge ran as fast as he could. He shot like an arrow to the gate. Stepping on the newly changed lock, he climbed up the rusted gate. The apartment building was surrounded by a rather dense forest. In the dark, with no light, he could not even see where he was going. However, with the bunch of homicidal crazies chasing after him, Chen Ge had no choice but to brave the possibility of getting lost and head into the forest. As he ran through the brush, the ray of flashlights occasionally cut through the darkness, and the cursing of the landlord and the tattooed guy came from behind him. Chen Ge did not even dare turn around. He only had one thought on his mind: escape. His clothes were torn by the twigs and branches. His body was covered in mud and leaves. After 15 minutes of full speed running, Chen Ge believed he had finally managed to outrun the landlord's group. He half-squatted inside a bush and saw the dim light that lit up someplace far away. His fingers snuck into the fresh soil, and he gasped greedily for air. That was way too close. When he was trapped inside the apartment, if he had made one wrong move, he would have died. Jesus, the difficulty of this trial mission is too damn high. The mission dispensed by the black phone liked to toy with his life, and the worst thing was, this was happening to him in real life. Temporarily shaking off the landlord's group did not mean that he was safe. Chen Ge shrank into the bush, and he was still afraid that when he turned, he would suddenly see the landlord's group behind him with clippers and cleavers. When his heart rate returned to normal, Chen Ge slowly extricated himself from the bush. The sign of the flashlights had completely disappeared. The forest was quiet, even the birds were not singing. Which direction is out? Chen Ge had to admit he was completely lost. Should I hide in here until dawn? Chen Ge pulled out his phone and realized the live stream was still going on. The screen had been black for more than 1 hour already. The chat log was filled with question marks. Even the more experienced viewers had no idea what was going on inside this curious live stream. He did not waste time to explain himself. He glanced at the time and was about to click open the message that had come from Hisan when he suddenly heard the sound of leaves crunching coming from behind him. Chen Ge immediately stuck his phone back into his pocket, lest the light from the screen exposed him. Clutching the mallet tightly, he was so nervous that even his palms were sweating, and he stared in the direction where the sound had come from. Not long after that, a ray of dim light cut through the darkness. Just as Chen Ge was about to use his mallet, a familiar voice asked, "Is someone there? Who is it?" "Wang Qi, didn't he leave the apartment long ago? Why is he here at the middle of the night?" Chen Ge thought to himself. Even though Chen Ge was curious, he understood curiosity killed the cat, so he stayed where he was. Was I mistaken? Impossible. Wang Qi waved his flashlight around and paced around the area. I mustn't let him see me. This person's problem is even bigger than the tenants of Ping and apartments. Chen Ge did not show himself. Instead, he retreated further away from Wang Qi. After moving for a while, Chen Ge realized the hill was becoming steeper. He seemed to have gone the wrong direction and wandered around to the other side of the hill. After exiting a thick bush, a secluded estate appeared before him. Surrounded by trees sat a very simple-looking wooden house. There was a wooden sign tacked to the door, and as he wandered closer, he saw it read, "Fire is a very dangerous thing in the forest, so be careful when using flames. Saving the environment starts with you, do not litter." This looks like a resting house for the forest rangers. He tried pushing the door, and it was not locked. As it creaked open, a weird smell drifted out from within. What is it? He did not dare turn on the flashlight on his phone, only using the brightness of his screen. The wooden house was small, but it was filled with various everyday items. It looked more like a landfill site. Chen Ge sniffed the air and walked toward the source of the weird smell. It was a bed. He flipped the wooden mattress up, and underneath, he saw clothes that had gone moldy. A hoarder, the discovery was even weirder than he had predicted. All the clothes were for a female, and they appeared worn and unwashed. Chen Ge pulled several articles of clothing out and realized they were of the same size. This meant that they probably all belonged to the same person. The mud stuck to the clothes hasn't even dried yet, meaning they have been worn recently. With the mortician's makeup skill, Chen Ge had gained a thorough understanding of human anatomy. As he used his fingers to measure the size of the clothes, the image of the female body that was embedded in the wall appeared in his mind. The size matches perfectly. These clothes probably belonged to the woman inside the wall. But why would a dead woman's clothes be hidden inside this wooden house? And why had they been worn several days ago? Chen Ge's heart started to race. He placed the clothes on the floor and realized there were some paper notes stuck to some of them. He picked them up for a closer look and realized they were all filled with proclamations like, "I love you." This handwriting. Chen Ge pulled out the notes from the dolls. Under close examination, the two looked 90% similar. The dolls were from 5 years ago, and these female clothes were obviously dumped here only several weeks ago. There are years apart between them, so why do they share so many similarities? Same handwriting, same love notes. Could the culprit for both cases have been the same person? Chen Ge picked up the clothes to throw them back under the bed. It was then that a phone with pink case fell from one of the pockets. A phone. Chen Ge picked it up. He realized that the phone was on the messages page. Whoever was using the phone had been writing a message. "Save me." A chill ran down Chen Ge's spine. He exited the page and looked through the message history. All of them were the same, and they only had 2 words, "Save me." Chapter 24, I Caught the Killer. Chen Ge looked through the sent dates of all the messages, and they were all 1 day apart and sent at midnight. This matched perfectly with what Wang Qi said, but it was also the detail that made Chen Ge shiver in terror. How could a body frozen inside a wall send a message punctually every night? Supernatural activity. If this was truly the work of a powerful specter, how was that group of tenants who had disturbed the body still alive? Something is wrong. Chen Ge lined up all the clues, and a thought dawned upon him. The person who has been sending Wang Qi messages every night is the killer of his fiancée, as well as the real killer responsible for the arson years ago. And I think I know that person is, Chen Ge thought, standing inside the wooden house. Wang Qi is thought a mad person by every tenant in the apartment, and the landlord chases him out every time he sees him. But more than that, he is the only person I saw tonight who isn't a tenant at the apartment. In spite of that, he appears often enough within the vicinity of the apartment. This means that his actual place of accommodation must be very close to the apartment. But the question is, when I was arguing with the landlord about the rental, he told me confidently that there is no other place to live within several thousand meters. In other words, Wang Qi couldn't be living at another nearby apartment or hotel. In that case, this wooden house is probably where he lives when he's not out spreading those notices. If he's the resident of this wooden house, then many things can be explained. The pitiable man who wanders about every day, asking about his missing fiancée, is probably his own fiancée's killer. Chen Ge had a hard time believing that he had chatted so amiably with a cold-blooded murderer, and even attempted to share his sad history with the man. He swallowed deeply, and it was then that he felt fear. This madman must have been through some trauma to have the need to collect the dead woman's clothes, and even use the woman's phone to message himself every night. Perhaps there's another personality that lives inside his body, that comes out to take over his body after he falls asleep. The more he thought about it, the more uneasy Chen Ge became. He looked through the phone to try to come up with more clues. This phone should be covered with his fingerprints, so it is an important piece of evidence. I have to take good care of it. As Chen Ge looked at the screen, perhaps it was the nervousness or perhaps it was something else, he saw a girl's figure appear on screen. She looked to be 18 or 19 and was wearing a blood-dyed school uniform. He rubbed his eyes to attempt to take a closer look when he felt a chill run up the back of his neck, like something was brushing its hand along it. This made Chen Ge jump and turn back to look. The air in the wooden house froze, and Chen Ge's heart almost jumped out of its cage when he saw what was behind him. The door of the wooden house had been opened silently, and standing about 2 meters behind him was Wang Qi with his eyes bloodshot, raising an axe slowly up in the air. Time seemed to have stopped as the 2 men looked at each other, neither daring to move. "So close." Wang Qi's voice was completely different from before. It seemed like the madness that was suppressed earlier had been unleashed. Chen Ge did not say anything in return, but his grip on the mallet tightened. He was feeling rather grateful toward the specter. If she had not shown up to warn him, his head would have been rolling on the floor. Such a waste. Wang Qi took a step forward, and Chen Ge immediately held his mallet up in a guarded manner. Relax, you've seen the stuff inside the phone. Chen Ge did not know what the madman was up to, so he did not dare let his guard down. Actually, if you think about it, I haven't really lied to you. The lethargy that Chen Ge saw earlier had completely disappeared. If anything, Wang Qi seemed to be in a very excited state. It felt like Chen Ge was dealing with a different person compared to the one he talked to that afternoon. When you first talked to me when you entered the apartment, I already told you my fiancé was hidden inside the apartment, did I not? See, I haven't lied to you, have I? He used the blunt end of the axe to pick up the clothes his fiancé once wore. After all, it was me who personally sealed her up inside the wall. Then Wang Qi's tone turned. His emotions raged like he was reminded of a traumatic event. He used the axe to split the clothes in two. I did nothing wrong. She's the one who made the mistake. She wanted to leave, so what could I do but try my best to make her stay? Wang Qi blocked the door with the axe swaying in his hand. As he stared at the chopped fabric, he said, I didn't want to do it. You understand, right? I didn't mean it. Regardless of what Wang Qi said, it was an undeniable fact that he had murdered more than one victim, so Chen Ge paid no heed to his explanation. With the mallet in his hand, Chen Ge slipped the dead woman's phone into his pocket. He zeroed in on the door, trying to find an opening to escape. I'm a hated individual. Everyone around me says so. No, even if they don't vocalize it, I know that's what they think. I can feel it. Wang Qi seemed to have totally lost his mind. His mental state was fractured, and he seemed to have a habit of talking to himself. It was as if he had walked into a mental maze and could not find a way out. As Wang Qi was talking, Chen Ge slowly adjusted the angle that he was standing. He simulated different escape scenarios in his mind, like using something else to distract the madman's attention. But those ideas were removed from his mind, because the wooden house was ultimately too small for something like that. Wang Qi's voice became shriller as he continued, a veritable sign that he was breaking down. The longer he stayed there, the greater the danger it was for Chen Ge. He decided to make a move soon and stopped focusing on running simulations. Every muscle in his body tensed. Wang Qi sounded like he was on the verge of lose control as the axe flailed dangerously in the air. Chen Ge caught an opening. He sprinted and knocked into Wang Qi with great momentum. One should not underestimate a cornered rabbit. This was probably the bravest decision Chen Ge had ever made in the past 20 years. When facing off against a serial killer, he acted even more rashly than the killer. In the dark, Wang Qi's reaction was one beat slower than Chen Ge's. He was unable to avoid Chen Ge's mallet, which was flying at his head. Bang! The mallet connected with skin and skull. Chen Ge felt something sticky on his hand, but he did not relax and launched another kick at Wang Qi's stomach. When the man doubled over, Chen Ge blasted out the door. Chen Ge immediately raced into the forest. This time, he did manage to catch the direction he was running in. The trees became sparser and the ground smoother. However, he still had not escaped from danger. He knew someone was chasing after him. The wavering light and the sound of the branches being snapped was the best proof. Chen Ge did not dare to even stop to take a breather. It was not until he saw the cement road that the sound behind him slowly disappeared. Those people should have left already. Chen Ge ran several hundred meters down the cement road before he heard the sound of police siren. He looked down the horizon and saw car lights coming down the road. I'm saved. He jumped up and down in the middle of the road. It was me who called the police. I caught the killer from 4 years ago. Chapter 25. Unlocking a new scenario. Sitting on the wooden table were several used cotton swabs, a bottle of mineral water, and an unopened bun. The young officer sitting across the table put down his recorder and took out his phone to show Chen Ge a picture on it. "Is he the man you saw?" Chen Ge took a look at the picture of several men walking out of a building together. The tallest among them had a tattoo of a peony on the back of his hand. "Yes, that's him. Peony represents wealth in Chinese culture and is a common tattoo among gamblers. This man's name is Zhang Peng. He's a gambler who is currently running from a debt of several 100,000 RMB. He's involved in crimes like robbery and mugging." The officer continued flipping through the pictures. "Now, take a look at this." This time, it was a picture that looked like it was taken from a traffic camera. After multiple zoom-ins, Chen Ge finally got a clear view of the driver. Sitting in the driver's seat was a frantic-looking fat man. He looked around 90% similar to the fat man Chen Ge saw in the apartment. "Looks familiar. With your description, we matched it to our traffic records database. The name of the driver in the picture is Feng Chunlei, an out-of-city man. He was responsible for a hit-and-run and driving under influence." The young officer put aside his phone and rearranged the information laid before him. "I believe I've taken all the information I need from you, Mr. Chen, but temporarily, you cannot leave. In a minute, the people from the main city's investigation team will need to get a more thorough statement from you. Hopefully, you'll be willing to cooperate with the investigation. After all, you're our only witness." "Of course." Chen Ge leaned down in bed, and his emotions began to calm down. Several hours ago, Western Jiujiang City's police station had received a call saying there was a murder going on at Ping An Apartments. The police mobilized immediately. They ran into Chen Ge on their way to Ping An Apartments. After some initial questions, the police separated into two teams. One went to follow Chen Ge back to the wooden house to detain Wang Qi, and the other went into the forest to capture Ping An Apartments' tenants. When Chen Ge returned to the wooden house, there was only a pool of blood on the floor. Wang Qi had already disappeared. After seeing the fresh blood and the large amount of clothing in the wooden house, they finally believed Chen Ge. They immediately called for the station's help to send more people to seal the mountain. Chen Ge, as the key witness, was given airtight protection. Initially, the police wanted to send him to the station, but to complete the mission given by the black phone, Chen Ge insisted on staying. He told the police there was more evidence inside Ping An Apartments and insisted on having his statement taken at Ping An Apartments. So, with 4 officers, 2 inside and 2 outside the door protecting him, Chen Ge lay down in bed, waiting for the mission time to pass. The door was pushed open at 3 a.m. A middle-aged officer in his 40s walked in. He removed his police cap and grabbed the bottle off the table to take several big gulps. "Uncle Sanbao, that's mine." Chen Ge sat up in bed when he saw the man. The officer's full name was Li Sanbao, the deputy head of Western Jiujiang City's police station. Coincidentally, he was also the officer responsible for Chen Ge's parents' disappearance case. At the time, it was this Uncle Sanbao who had helped Chen Ge walk out from his depression. "You cheeky little thing, have I told you to not refer to me as your Uncle Sanbao? It's Superintendent Li or Inspector Li." Li Sanbao put down the water bottle and scolded him with an irrepressible smile on his face. "I'll let it slide this time since you've done a wonderful good deed this time." Chen Ge stood up to ask, "They've caught the man?" "Of course, don't underestimate the people from the investigation team. They have not only captured Wang Qi, but also the other people from the apartment. The only one missing is Zhang Peng." "That's great news." "They've even found Wang Qi's fiancé's body. It's being looked over by our forensic expert as we speak. In any case, if you have any questions, you'd better ask them now because I'll need to leave to deal with other things soon." The only reason Inspector Lei was there was to give Chen Ge the good news. Both Zhang Peng and Feng Chunlei are escaped criminals, but what about the other two? Chen Ge did not hesitate and posed the question on his mind. The woman is Zhang Peng's wife. At most, she'll be guilty of harboring a fugitive. The landlord, though, is a bit more complicated. He was originally a caretaker but got too greedy and cooperated with the rest to seize the senior's property. However, he did not torture the senior. At least, we couldn't see any obvious wounds on the senior, Inspector Li answered as he put his cap back on. Why would you ask about that? Just curious. Chen Ge listened to He-san and flashed an honest smile. Although, I hear that aiding the police in capturing fugitives entitles one to some rewards, yes. The banner and badge will be sent to you through mail. When the case is closed, goodbye. F***CK, wait. The young officer who saw this laughed and said, Inspector Li is just playing with you. If Wang Qi is confirmed to be the arsonist from 4 years ago, then the reward money that you could get is about 30,000 RMB. However, the reward will be given by the local government's treasury and not the law enforcement. Furthermore, the senior once offered 5,000 RMB as reward for any information relating to his family's death. So there's really a monetary reward. Chen Ge's lips curved into a smile when money was mentioned. I asked only for fun. Of course, the reason I did this was not for the money. To be able to contribute to the preservation of peace within this wonderful city of ours is the absolute honor. The young officer smiled and did not comment. He went back to his post of guarding the door. Later, after Chen Ge was questioned by the investigation team, the officers volunteered to send him home. However, to complete the mission, Chen Ge gave multiple excuses. He refused to budge from the apartment building. Either he needed to get his stuff from room 408, or he wanted to follow the officer up to the 3rd floor to see the crime scene for himself. In any case, he stayed there until 6 a.m. It was not until the mission completed notice appeared on the black phone that he was willing to leave in the police car. Looking at the scenery that flew past him, Chen Ge did not feel at all tired. He snuck out the black phone quietly and started to look through the mission reward. Player managed to reach the mission location on time, successfully found the party responsible for the murder, and survived until dawn. Trial mission, murder by midnight, successful. A new scenario has been unlocked. Player can manipulate the props inside the set freely using the interface available on the phone. Trial missions completion rate more than 90%. Congratulations for unlocking this mission's hidden item, Wang Qi's missing person notice. Wang Qi's missing person notice, 11 malice points. Every day I search for the love that I killed. I killed her again and again, but she always manages to find me. Every morning when I open my eyes, her stuff will appear in bed with me. I've already sealed her inside the wall, but she seemed to have snuck inside my heart.